We gave up that home run in the first inning.
Has you covered from installation to maintenance.
You got you made it.
We are live on a Wednesday edition of the Sports Bash, 97.3 ESPN. Holy mackerel, I drove through a hurricane to get here, and now it's beautiful in Wildwood. We're at Urie's at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood. Phil's in action against the Mariners. Bottom three, 2-1 Phil's. You know what? Started early with a little Mariner home run, Julio Rodriguez. And then the Phils got one back in the bottom half of the first. Bohm just with a double right here. Phils up 2-1, trying to sweep the the Mariners. So we got you covered all the way through the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. I'm Mike Gill. PG is my on-site producer today. Josh Henning is back at the studios. And, of course, you out there. So we'll take you through the show today. We'll take you through the game. Phil's up 2-1. We'll kind of break it all down throughout the day. Some interesting things about this game today. Number one, PG. No Nick Castellanos in the lineup today.
Good for Topper.
And Topper did address it before the game today. And he didn't say that they had a platoon or that they were doing anything concrete. he had just kind of said we have 4 guys for 3 spots. We're just going to kind of rotate these guys around. He said that Bader is frustrated, that he needs some, not frustrated about his playing time, more frustrated by the fact that he hasn't gotten off to a good start here. He mentioned that he wants to try to keep Nick healthy with the knee situation. But I guess the question would be, a lot of people like to criticize Rob Thompson and the handling of all this stuff. Do we think Topper is doing a good job with this right field or this outfield platoon, rotation, whatever you want to call it? Because it's not a platoon when they're not, you don't have a guy, Kepler's playing right field today. So you could say the platoon is in right field today. You got 4 guys playing 3 spots, and he's kind of rotating them around. Now, the Phillies have an off day tomorrow as well, so Castellanos will now have 2 days off in a row. And one of the things Topper said is, hey, that knee was a little bit of a problem for him, so they want to get him kind of rested every now and then. There's a base hit, by the way. Bohm's going to get held up at
and you know what?
third base.
Castellanos went 0 for 4 last night, so not a good night at the plate.
Well, and one of the things Topper said, look, if 3 of the guys are hitting, I'm not going to play the other guy. But that's not entirely true because Kepler had 2 hits the other day, and he wasn't in the lineup the next day. So you can't do it based on, hey, you had 2 hits yesterday, you're going to play again
But
tomorrow.
with a guy like Castellanos, can you? Because you should expect that out of him.
I think we get pulled into these tricks all the time. Where a team scores 13 runs one day, and then the next day they don't score at all. The same guys are in the lineup. They had a bunch of hits on Tuesday. Doesn't mean, baseball is basically who's the pitcher.
21 hits to be exact.
21 hits they had on Monday night.
Monday night, yeah.
So you can't expect them to come out and just rake like that every single day. Now, Bader looks like a 5-4-3 double disco, and Bader's frustration continues, I guess, if you will. But you can't expect, a guy gets 3 hits one day, and then he's not in the lineup the next day. And then everybody goes crazy. Why you had 3 hits yesterday? Why isn't he in the lineup? Well, it doesn't mean he's going to get 3 hits again the next day. I mean, if you did that, the day you got 3 hits, you should always have 3 hits. If you just kept going off the fact that you had 3 hits on Monday, why wouldn't you get 3 hits on Tuesday? Why wouldn't you get 3 hits again on Wednesday? So you have to have a feel of how to do this sometimes. And the Phillies' feel is going off of the analytics a lot of times. Now, this one's interesting because Castellanos has not been a platoon player. He has been a full-time player versus right-handed pitchers and left-handed pitchers. But today, they are facing a right-handed pitcher. He is not in the lineup. It's Max Kepler in the lineup today. The way that they handle this the rest of the way here, I think, is going to be something interesting. So, one of the questions, and Tim Kelly over at On Pattison asked the question, and he asked, do you view yourself as part of a platoon in right field? He says, I have no idea. That's a question for Topper. So that was one of the questions. Then he went on to say that Castellanos went on to say that Topper told him yesterday that he wants to make sure that my knee stays good. Bader is pretty frustrated right now, so he wants to get him consistent at bats or get him more consistent at bats. So he said, bear with me, and I said, whatever you need. How about Nick Castellanos, team player?
Company man, Nick Castellanos.
Whatever you need, he says.
It's not because he's been the worst. What was the stat you gave on Monday and Tuesday? He's been the worst player in the majors. WAR.
Yeah, that was Bob Wankel on Friday's show. His WAR since the All-Star break, he has been statistically speaking the worst player in baseball.
Yeah, so he needs to be rested, whether it's an injury or something bothering him, or he just because he is a streaky hitter.
We know that.
That's who he is. So this is probably one of his down streaks that he needs to be rested for.
Well, about a month ago, Max Kepler had said, he was frustrated because he thought he was going to play a little bit more. And that didn't happen. And Kepler kind of got blasted. And it's been public enemy number one ever since that day, right? And Bader has come out and said he's frustrated. He says, I don't think my performance is frustrating. I think the lack of results can be a bit challenging, but in terms of everything leading up to whatever comes for the results, I've been pleased with everything. My process has been there. My pitch selection has been there. My intent has certainly been there. So he's frustrated by the fact that he hasn't performed. So are the Phillies kind of going out of their way for Harrison Bader here? Like, hey, he's frustrated. Let's let him play. It's kind of weird, right?
Well, Bader does give you the defense. I mean, we saw him rob a home run a few weeks back when he first got here, so he'll give you that aspect, and Castellanos really won't.
Well, he's definitely – look, the Phillies today have their best defense on the field. You have Kepler in right field, who's a good right fielder. You have Marsh in left field, who's a good left fielder. And you have Bader in center field, who's a really good center fielder. So you have your best defense out there. And this is where the necessity for Castellanos is not really all that big when the rest of the lineup is producing, right? That's the big thing, is when you have the rest of the lineup, the bottom of the order – producing. When I say the bottom guys, Stott, Marsh, Kepler, those guys, they all have hits today. Marsh has a hit. Bader has a hit. Stott has a hit. Turner has 2. Real Muto, Bohm. You're getting hits from that bottom half of the lineup. The necessity for Nick Castellanos dwindles when you're getting offensive production from the bottom half of the lineup. The necessity for Castellanos and waiting for him to get hot dwindles, doesn't it? And the necessity for better defense elevates.
I will say Bader needs to start hitting, though. I mean, we can't go through the rest of this month and September with him just
got a hit today.
Not hitting.
1 for 2 with a run scored for Bader.
Just hit into that double play, though.
He did hit to the double play. But you look at all those guys at that, Marsh, Bader, Kepler, those 3 guys. Marsh is 269, Bader is 248, Kepler obviously is 210. He's really been bad for most of the year, although he's coming around a little bit here. But his on-base percentage is 297, which is, I don't quote me on this, I'll look at Nick Castellanos, but his on-base percentage of 297, I would imagine, is either equal to or about the same as Castellanos. Yeah, Castellanos on base is 291. So realistically, statistically speaking, Castellanos is the worst of the group.
Yeah.
In terms of on-base percentage. So if you're just strictly going off of on-base percentage, Castellanos of the 4, he's the worst of the group. So then you mix in.
If you're an opposing pitcher, Castellanos is the easiest to figure out and pitch to.
Well, let's bring that up then. You bring up a good point, Pete, because Nick Castellanos has struck out 107 times. Marsh has struck out 79 times. And then, of course, Bader's only been here. He's only struck out 9 times. And Kepler, who, has not been great, has only struck out 73 times. Now, Castellanos has had over 100 more at-bats, but he has struck out 107 times in those times. Now, his on-base percentage, 291, that's the worst of the group. Batting average-wise, if you're still someone who looks at batting average and cares about that, Marsh is the best of that group. Castellanos has no compelling quality other than the one spot you can make an argument for Castellanos is Petey is third on the team in home runs with 16. Kepler would be next with 12. So that little, Castellanos has played 122 games to Kepler's 104. You can make an argument that if Kepler played that extra 20 games, maybe the home runs are a little closer. And the on-base percentage is in Kepler's favor. The WAR is in Kepler's favor. Is Kepler the better play, or should they just flat-out platoon them? That's where I would be at this point if I'm the Phillies. Forget this little 4-man rotation. I would just nice catch by Marsh there. And we're just, as we're talking about defense.
Yeah. Well, if you're just looking at it matchup-wise, I think that's how you have to go with it. I mean, with the opposing pitcher, what are your stats against that guy, that particular guy? And Castellanos today, he was only 1 for 3 against Luis Castillo, so he sits.
He sits.
And Kepler has good numbers against him. He has a homer off of him, 5 for 16, so there you go.
So the Phillies in action today, and that play right there, if you're just, tuning in, and Marsh just made a sliding catch right there, and that's the play right there. The play by Marsh that if I'm the pitcher, if I'm Jesus Luzardo today, I want that play behind me in right field, and I want that play behind me in left field. So the whole thing with Castellanos, I give the Phillies credit. I don't know who it is. I'm not saying Rob Thompson or anybody. I don't know who makes this decision. I have an idea in my mind from the fact that the Phillies are kind of beginning to put their big boy pants on a little bit here. As we get into August, I talked about it at the end of last night's show about how important the last month and a half is for that final number 2 seed. Now, the Phillies did gain a gain on Milwaukee last night. They're only 6 back in Milwaukee. But being one of the top 2 teams in the National League, how important that is. And I think the Phillies are now understanding how important it is, seeing what they have, and they're starting to make the big boy decision here of, listen, we have gotten to a point to where Nick Castellanos cannot play every single day. It's not a rite of passage. And I give them, whoever it is, I'm not giving Rob Thompson the credit, Dave Dombrowski, Mattingly, the general manager, whoever's the person that's in charge here, I think that person deserves some credit for the beginning of them phasing out Castellanos as an everyday player and doing the right thing here.
Now, that continues on in the postseason, correct?
Has to, right?
Yeah.
Has to.
There's no question that if you're going to start it now, you got to kind of go through with it.
609-403-0973. 609-403-0973. Now, we do have the Lombardi Trophy out here today, and look what I see out there, Pete. I see
Kelsey?
A couple jerseys.
That is a Kelly Green Kelsey jersey.
I think we got a Kelly Green, but it's like a whole family worth of Kelly Greens. The gentleman, and it looks like his 2 daughters out there. So, yes, the Lombardi Trophy is here. You can get your picture taken. Wear the Eagles gear. Now, I got the Phillies shirt on today. A couple ladies at the bar, they got the Phillies red. You got a Harper jersey right here in front of us. Mm-hmm. So you going Phillies jersey or you going Eagles today?
Oh, Phillies. No question.
For the game.
For the game, yes.
You want it, but if you get the
I'm not there
taken,
yet with the Eagles, you know?
You're not there yet.
No.
Friday night, you got a Phillies 6:45 first pitch, Eagles 7:30 kickoff.
I'm going Phillies. Phillies Nats.
Got to, right? All right, text board 609-403-0973 is open. Big shout out this morning to Gil on Unsportsmanlike. Yeah, I heard about that.
Did you? You got a shout out there?
They did a whole segment based on our Unsportsmanlike moment of the day.
Really?
Yeah, they played my audio for Chris Canty.
Wow.
Yeah, he ripped Sirianni, so I ripped him back.
Now, yeah, you and Canty, there's a home run by somebody. Is that Kepler?
Please be Kepler. Oh,
that is
Kepler.
Max Kepler.
Yes.
See,
I think Kepler's now like one of my guys that I'm pulling. So let me tell you this story. I'm in.
Well, were you here when he had that kind of
no? That's what I'm talking
moment with the fans and stuff? He said that the booing is the love language.
That's what I was going to talk about.
Okay.
I was not here. I was in Lisbon.
Okay.
The night that happened, I'm in Lisbon, Portugal, and I see all this happening. And I'm on a text chain with a couple of people, and they're ripping them.
Yeah.
And I watched it. I said, I'm not ripping him. I actually now feel like I want to pull for this guy. Like, I felt that moment for him was his moment of letting the fans know, like, I got you. Like, I get it. You're booing me. Like, I thought that was a connecting moment for him. Right?
That's what.
Did you look at that moment? Like, if I could go back
Yes.
to my text messages, like, they're like, this is cringeworthy. Not as cringeworthy as the guy doing play-by-play last night in the 3rd inning. Did you watch that?
I did, yeah.
Was that tough?
That was tough. He didn't want to do it. They kept on trying to nudge him to do it, and he just wasn't taking the hint.
He was talking about his fantasy team.
Yeah, he was talking about his fantasy team.
He's in an American League-only league. Said he's been in the league for 26 years or something like that.
He was an auction winner, I guess, something like that.
That was painful to listen to. I was out to dinner last night, and I wasn't watching the game with the audio on.
Good.
Well, I'm getting text message after text message. I mean, I looked at my phone. I said, I have 48 text messages here. I thought it was you and Rank texting me nonstop. And it's just them going back and forth about how bad this guy was. And I said, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but you're ruining my dinner.
I got to interject on this. I think people were being way too hard on that guy. First of all, he's not a professional. He's not there to be an analyst. His thing was,
No,
hey,
it wasn't there to be the analyst. there to do the play-by-play.
So why are people criticizing? I thought that whole thing was stupid. I literally chucked my phone last night on social media. I was like,
What do you mean you think I was stupid? If you bid on to do the play-by-play, you would think that you would want a guy who wanted to do play-by-play.
but he's not there to do play-by-play.
Yes,
He
he
is.
was.
Yes, he was.
That's
No.
what he bid on. He bid on
to hang out in the booth for an inning.
It's the same
No,
thing.
no. That, if you notice, McCarthy wasn't doing anything. The guy, the experience that he bid on was to do the play-by-play for the inning.
Well, then you get what you expect. Would you expect to get a guy as a
No, they've had
professional
guys-
bid on that?
Yes, they've had guys do it in the
Oh,
past that have
stop.
done really good jobs, right?
Why would you bid on it if you didn't have any desire to do it?
Well, his whole thing was he said last night, he said that he actually didn't bid on it, that apparently his father-in-law bid on it and gave it to him.
Yes, father-in-law hates him. I think he sabotaged him. Josh, what are you talking about? They have had this thing for years. There's a guy who always comes in, he wins this thing, and he does the third inning. This has been going on for years. And like last year, I remember the guy came with all notes. He was well prepared last year, the guy. He was like really prepared. In fact, I remember him like interviewing Kruk, and he had all like notes of Kruk's career. I mean, the guys who have won this thing in the past have been well prepared guys who have done this. This guy wanted no business. He wanted nothing to. So I went home. When I got home,
He was
I was
happy
like,
to be there.
he was happy to be there, but he didn't do a good job, right? I mean,
did a terrible
both
job.
things can be.
See,
accurate.
I'm way more surprised if the guy shows up and does a good job than I am by the guy who's just like last
Haven't
night.
you watched these things over the years, though?
I don't get too high or too low on these things. If a guy does
I'm
well
not high
up
or
there,
low. I just said the guy didn't do a good job, and you said you threw your phone because the people.
Well, because people were acting like, it's an abomination that this guy is on the broadcast. It's like, come on.
It wasn't very good.
It wasn't very good. I mean, it's not an abomination. He paid for it. He paid for that experience, but he did a poor job in the experience. It was almost as if he did not want to do the experience.
I don't know. I felt like he was just happy to be there. He was just hanging out. He did
That's to the wall.
That's a double by Schwarber. There
That's
you go.
Schwarber?
Yeah.
Schwarber's heating up again.
Wow. This is what happens
Now-
when the offense starts clicking.
Another thing about the broadcast last night. Did you see the uproar about the Duran closing?
Yes.
How
I'm glad you brought this
NBC
up.
Didn't show it.
I'm glad you brought this up because I think someone on this show here has suggested
Yeah, you.
that would you be mad if they charged you $15 attraction fee if you went to the game?
I would be. Yes.
I would
Now
be too.
everybody's complaining that they didn't get a chance to see the entrance last night.
Yes.
So what does that tell you?
That.
Well, people want to see the entrance, but they shouldn't have to pay extra for it.
It's not my
Right.
problem. I'm running a business here, clowns.
Well, that's a poor business model then, because you're already overcharging me for parking, for tickets, for concessions.
And they've already shown it before when Duran first got here. NBC they showed
They
it.
showed it the first time. They gave you a little dopamine.
So yeah. So why? So
They wanted to see is there going to be
not only that though, we came back from commercial and they put ads on top of the performance, and there was nothing. The McCarthy talked over it.
He did a bit. Now McCarthy did as bad of a job on the return as that guy did in the third inning last night on that situation. He's reading ads over it. I agree. Like if I'm NBC Philadelphia, I got to figure something out. I got to get a sponsor for that. When he, hey, we're going to keep it here for Joan Duran's entrance, and it's brought to you by,
Whoever.
your local Ford dealership.
Especially how the game played out. I mean, they took the lead in the 8th inning with the home run. You got to
one of the best games of the night.
You gotta
So you're
show
telling me if you were there,
Yeah.
they come back, you get the 2-run homer by JT Realmuto, you take a 6-4 lead in the bottom of the 8th.
Yep.
And then here comes Duran. If you got a $15 negative in your bank account, you would be like, what? You'd be like,
Absolutely, I would. I paid enough money to go to this game.
Pete?
I'm not paying extra for that.
Oh,
entrance.
yes, you would.
No, that's stupid.
Josh, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed today, I tell
Yeah,
you.
Josh.
He came in today. Woo.
Tell me what fan would be okay with paying, aside from you, Mike Gill, paying $15
I didn't say I'd be all right with it.
for something that's already a part of the game experience.
It's not a part of the game experience.
Yes, it is.
Before. It's a new attraction. I'm charging you for the new attraction.
Not
I'm
a
not
new
giving
attraction.
it away for free. What do you
It's
mean it's
part
not
of
an
the game.
attraction? No.
It's part of the game.
They don't have to have him with the music and the lights.
Well, that's not my problem. I should have to pay $15 for them.
You shouldn't have to, but if they charge you for it, would you complain?
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
you wouldn't go to the game.
If I'm at the game, yeah, I'm not paying $15 extra just to see a light show for 30 seconds.
2 minutes
See
in.
a guy jog.
2
to the
minutes
I was
mound.
going to say it's like
14
2
seconds.
minutes and
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, think about it this way. It's about what you pay to ride like a roller coaster.
But see, when you go to the roller coaster for that specific moment, you're not going to the game for the specific Johan
Well, it's like going to
Duran.
Disney World. You go to Disney World like
I
CBP.
disagree. I think people are going to the game now
Duran
with
is like
hopes
Tron.
to see Duran. Don't you?
No.
What do you mean no? You don't think people are going to the game in hopes to see Duran's entrance?
Well, people are going to hoping to see it, but it doesn't
Hoping to
mean that
see,
they
but
should
they're
have to
not
pay
buying
extra for
tickets
it.
just to see if they have a 2-run lead in the ninth inning.
Well, I saw a ton of people on social media last night.
They were angered.
They were angered. They wanted to see that, and I said, "Well, guess what? Now they're going to charge you for it."
The broadcast, though, is different than actually being there.
But it told me people want to see that entrance.
The broadcast is there for the fans, right? They should be appeasing the fans no matter what the commercials look like.
All right, we're live at Urie's in Wildwood. Phillies Watch Party, Eagles Championship Trophy. Mike McGarry will join us tonight at 5 o'clock when the game is over. He's at Citizens Bank Park. John McMullen, Nick Sirianni at 3:30, his press conference. Football at 4, the unsportsmanlike moment of the day. All that and more. We're just kicking things off. Phil's in the lead today. They've got a 3-1 advantage over the Mariners, trying for the sweep. More Sports Bash coming up, 97.3 ESPN. A Max Kepler homer has the Phillies up 3-1 now as they look to sweep the Mariners. Sports Bash live at Urie's right here. The seafood extraordinary. You had the seafood.
I did. I had the ahi tuna. Very good.
You went ahi tuna today. The value tremendous. The sunsets on the house. Urie's Waterfront Restaurant in the Boathouse at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood. Experience the best at the Jersey Shore. Urie's in the Boathouse. Come on down. Watch the rest of the Phils. Get your picture taken with the old Lombardi trophy out there. Check it all out. Sports Fast Live. It's our final Phillies Watch Party today down here in Wildwood. Now, it was weird. Driving down here, it looked like it was going to be a miserable day. Now it's a beautiful day. How was your drive?
It was pouring for about the back half of it.
Mine was the whole front half. It was pouring. But now it's gorgeous down here.
That's nice.
Got a nice day. Sit outside. Got the Sliders Bar here. Nick Castellanos not in the lineup today. A couple text messages. 609-403-0973. 609-403-0973. All right, let's go to the text board. Since July, March goes to left. Wilson versus left-handed pitching.
That's a guy we even brought up, Weston Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to play left field against lefties still. He'll have that kind of little role there, so he'll play like maybe twice a week.
And he's the reason why Otto Kemp got sent down, really.
He kind of won that battle between those two. Bader plays every day in center. Call Crawford up on September 1st. Plays Casty 60%, Kepler 40% in right field the rest of the way. Seems like they listen to me a lot. Yeah, okay. Is Mike Trout playing right field? Everybody's been saying this, by the way. It's not like – I like how there's like, hey, by the way, where's Crawford coming up and playing? They said if he comes up, he's going to have to play every single day. Now, the minor league season ends. I don't know. I mean, are they going to have him just sit on the bench?
They could bring him up just to have him up here.
Well, here's the thing. It's really between Crawford and Painter that would be the call-up.
Not both.
Well, I would imagine that the third catcher will come up, which would be Garrett Stubbs.
Oh, we're going to have Stubby back for a month.
Usually the team brings up the third catcher.
Right.
I like how he says they listen to me a lot. If that was the case, the Phillies would have would have had trades with like 17 different teams. You can't get like 17 trade offers wrong and then say that I got this one right. That's not how this works.
Correct.
Everybody is suggesting what you're suggesting, by the way, that Castellanos and Kepler would split time kind of 60-40-ish in right field. We've been saying that for, since the beginning of the year, pretty much, that there's no need to play, that there was no need to sign Kepler. The best case for him would have been to split time with Castellanos in a platoon role. The problem is they don't want to platoon Castellanos. Until now, they are starting to do that a little bit. Now, Bader every day in center field, that's another interesting one. Is Bader hitting enough where they feel comfortable enough to play him every day, or is that why this whole little rotation in the outfield kind of keeps going?
Yeah, I think offensively he's just not there yet. I mean, how many hits does he have since he's been a Philly? 4, 5? Less than 10. So
Bader, since he's been in Philadelphia, is he is 7 for
hits.
41. Yeah, he's hitting 171.
That's
he's
not
very
good, man. No.
And that's why I think this is interesting, because if Bader doesn't start clicking offensively, do they start to say, hey, we're in the same situation we were with Rojas, where we have a really good center fielder, but we're not getting anything offensive production. Now, I think Bader's ceiling as an offensive player gives him more rope than Rojas, although Rojas got about 3 years of rope.
That's true.
The Mariners have been on the road for 1 million years in 4 cities. You know they want to get out of here. The Phillies have a day off tomorrow. This is definitely a game they must have if you set your sights on the number 2 bye. But Rob Zombie will find a way to give away the game.
Well, I'm waiting for the Jesus Luzardo blow-up inning. Because
this will be interesting, because now let's take a look at this.
He's got 11 strikeouts today.
He's cruising along. He's got 11 strikeouts. He's got 77 pitches. He's going into the 6th inning now.
And the blow-up inning it happens with this guy a lot.
This is almost identical to what happened the last game when he went to the 7th inning. He's at 77 pitches now with 11 strikeouts. He's going to come out in the 6th inning here. If he gets through the 6th inning, what happens in the 7th? This 7th inning seems to be the inning where they're having this, like, what do we do?
Well, last night it was Jordan Romano, right? They had a 7-run lead, and he gave up 4.
That was Monday night.
Oh, that was Monday night?
Yeah. I didn't have any problem with them bringing Romano in that spot.
Which is another I mean, Romano's still here. So you thought Alvarado, once he got activated.
Well, no, that guy Hoffman. You knew he
Hoffman
wasn't sticking around.
Right, but he's still getting used.
Who?
Romano. He can't hold a 7-run lead.
Oh, I get that, but you're not going to see him pitch. He's not going to make the playoff team.
No.
But I'm saying the other night when they brought him in, I didn't have any problem with it. It's a 7-run. It was 7-0. It was a 6-run lead. It was 7-1. I mean, if he's on the roster, when else am I using him? I'm up by 7 runs. I only need 1 out.
Well, he can't even give you that.
Well, he couldn't that night. But my point is, instead of wasting an actual arm, I'm going to try to waste him first. Now, it didn't work.
Well, and last night was Kirkring. Yes, last night was Kirkring who gave up the lead.
And Kirkring last night just didn't have it. He
Right.
had not had a walk in 12 straight appearances.
8 straight balls.
Yeah, I mean, just every now and then you just don't have a good outing. That was that outing. I didn't have a problem with them going to Kirkring in that spot last
But the
night.
7th inning, 7th, 8th, and 9th should be a form of Kirkring and Strom, and then Duran in the 9th. Is that how it's going to set up here?
Well, you got Alvarado. So you got Alvarado. And we talked about, him pitching the 8th inning or Kirkring pitching the 8th inning based on if there's righties or lefty, quote-unquote, pockets.
Right.
Yeah.
And Tanner Banks is in there as well.
609-403-0973. If I go to the game with my family and that happens and I get charged $15 a ticket or wherever it is when it comes in, I'm never going to another game until they stop doing that. Andy Mack and EHT. I would imagine some people would be angry, but I think some people in the moment. I think some people in the moment would be like, I don't care. You see that place last night when they turned those lights off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see it because they didn't show it on TV.
Well, you saw it on social media.
Well, yeah, I had to see it on social media. I was sitting on my couch. I was waiting for it. As soon as JT hit that homer, I said, I'm going to see that entrance. They got the lead. It's a save situation. I'm going to see the entrance, and then they take a commercial break.
Yeah.
And then they try to defend themselves, saying, well, it's about the 9th inning, and they don't want to get backed up with commercials. And give me a break.
That's
people don't want to hear. That's tone deaf.
That's all, not just tone deaf. It's also an example of it's not the fans' fault that the person running the broadcast mismanaged the commercial inventory. I mean, come on.
Yeah, give me a break, man.
Listen,
you got to be ready for it.
You will never miss a game on 97.3 ESPN because of commercial inventory, okay? If we can figure it out, I'm sure they can figure it out.
There's another
base hit
by Kepler again.
Kepler. We all have to give a little apology to Kepler here. Is it fair to say that he has told everybody to go shove it?
Yeah, kick rocks.
Has he told everyone to go shove it, or has he kind of realized that, hey, I complained earlier in the year, and now I got to put up or shut up, and now he's doing his job?
Hey, listen, whatever it may be, he's 2 for 3 today. He's played well. He's up to 215. By the way, his on-base percentage now over 300. And this goes to what Castellanos not playing today and what Rob Thompson said. He made an interesting point today. And the point that he made was, somebody asked him, was he's not locked into having these 4 guys play. He says, I can tell you that. I mean, if 3 guys get really hot and 1's not, then I'm not going to keep changing them. Here's Topper.
Oh, I don't know about that because I got to keep the other guys going too. So I think it's probably going to be more of a rotation than anything else.
So he didn't commit to a platoon. He didn't commit to saying, hey, if you're facing a lefty, you're playing. If you're facing a righty, you're playing. He didn't go that far. He just said, I mean, if 3 guys get really hot and 1's not, then the 3 hot guys are going to play. And I'm interested to see if that actually happens.
And Max Kepler is a hot guy right now.
But I think that's Topper saying, I don't have the answer to the question. I'm just waiting to hear who they tell me he's playing every day. Based on what? Because there is no rhyme or reason. The other day, Kepler had 2 hits, and then he didn't play. So if you're saying that the hot guy plays, Kepler had the 2 hits in the game and didn't play the next day.
But a day like today, they did a great job of saying, hey, Kepler's got good numbers against Castillo. Put him in the lineup.
But
and it
that's my
worked.
point. That's my point. I don't think Thompson has an answer here. I think they're just waiting day by day to see what the matchups are, right?
I don't mind that. Do you?
I personally, do I mind it? No, I think it's more of an evidence of they're just going off the analytics. They're just going off numbers. They're just saying, what has this guy done against this hitter? You're better, you're playing. It's not based on, I have a feel that Castellanos, today he's due, or like people believe that Thompson just is playing the guys that he wants to play. I think this is more evidence that they're just going off of the numbers.
Is that going to fly, though, in the postseason? That doesn't work in the postseason. You got to play the hot guy.
Well, not always, because remember, game to game,
Why
you have a
wouldn't
different
you?
pitcher on the mound. So if you have a guy who might be hot against right-handed pitching, but then a left-handed pitcher starts, you can't keep playing that guy.
I don't know about that. I mean, I would just play the hot hand in the postseason.
Yeah, but
no matter what
we
the
just
matchup
talked
is.
about the fact that just because you get 4 hits one day doesn't mean, didn't Turner on Monday night, what was he, like 4 for 6 or something like that with 5 RBI?
Yeah, he went nuts.
Now, last night, I don't remember what he did
Well,
last night.
Castellanos on Monday night had 2 hits, and he went 0 for 4 last night.
Right. Well, and that's the point. If you get playing the hot guy, you expect to get 4 hits every day. Turner had 4 hits on Monday. Last night he was 1 for 4 with a strikeout. So just because he had 4 for 6 on Monday doesn't mean you're getting, to stick with the hot hand.
Today he's 2 for 3 with a triple, though. So, I mean.
Well, Turner's different, though. He plays
Yeah.
every day no matter what. But these other guys, just because Castellanos has 2 hits one day, you think he's getting 2 hits again the next day?
No.
Absolutely not.
Most, like Kepler, he has 2 hits today. Do you think he's getting 2 hits again tomorrow?
Not playing tomorrow.
Friday.
Maybe.
Probably
you
not.
can't-
But that's the point. You're saying, yeah, maybe, but there is no rhyme or reason. So they can't make a decision. So how do they help their decision? They're going off of the past numbers, is my point.
How are you supposed to get a hitter hot, though, if he doesn't play every day?
Well, I think that's what the Phillies' point is, isn't it? That you can't expect guys to just stay hot. You got to play the matchups.
Right now, by the way, Bader's 2 for 3, Kepler's 2 for 3, Stott's 2 for 3. Now, if there's the Phillies are playing Washington on Friday.
Correct.
Is Mackenzie Gore pitching that game?
Let me pull it up. I believe he was scheduled for the weekend. Let me see if he still is.
It's Cavalli is the right-hander. Parker is a lefty. And
Irvin.
So they do not get
No Gore.
They get no Gore. Now Irvin's a righty. The middle guy, Parker.
He's the guy.
a
they,
lefty,
he's
but
the guy they lit up though
Yeah.
last weekend.
But he's a lefty, and Bob Wankel, he pitched on Friday against, maybe Saturday. I think it was
Saturday.
Friday against the Phillies. And that was the guy that Bob Wankel said he's not tough on lefties.
Correct.
And Stott was in the lineup that day against him.
Yep.
Listen, this is going to be day to day, right? Every day they have to sit down in that little, office and say, okay, these are the numbers. This is what the numbers say. Do we just go with what the numbers say? Does anybody have a gut feel today or want to do anything different? Because otherwise, this is what the computer spit out for us today. I think that's the way this is going to work between now and the end of the year, and they kind of see how it worked out. Did it work out by just saying, hey, we're just going to play the percentages here and go with the guy who had his, was better against so-and-so or, I don't think it's a rite of passage that Nick Castellanos' name is just in the lineup because they're facing, a right-hander or a left-hander. And I think now he's going to have numbers, I hope anyway, right? I hope that his numbers are going to have to suggest that he's had good numbers against this pitcher, and that's why he's playing.
Well, also the fact that I think you could look at a guy like Kepler, and if you're the Phillies, you could point to Kepler and say about and Weston Wilson, and say about them, hey, look, this month those guys have stepped up. Now, Castellanos, time your turn to step up.
Now, Castellanos, there could be something also said for, look, if you give him a couple days of rest here, maybe he does get his back kind of reinfused.
Maybe he does.
He's not as tired. Maybe he's not dragging so much. Maybe he does need a little bit of a rest. And I'm okay with, look, I'm not saying that Castellanos should be banished and benched. If he's on the roster, $20 million, obviously they need to try to find a way to utilize that. He does have 16 homers and 61 RBIs. We know he can get scorching hot. But right now, there is no reason in the world that he should be part of the lineup every day. And the Phillies are saying, we agree with you.
And Max Kepler says, I agree too.
And Max Kepler also is saying, thank you. Thank you for realizing that this guy over in right field, because I can play right field too, because that's the problem. They were pitch and hole, and Kepler is only a left fielder. Well, now they're opening up a new horizon for him to say, hey, you know what, man? Let's go see if you can, and he's been a right fielder, by the way. He's actually a better right fielder than he is a left fielder.
And by the way, Mike, doesn't this also help them when they get to the postseason? Because now they know that some of these lineup configurations work. So now they can go into the postseason with more flexibility.
That's a good question. Does it help or hurt to have all these decisions to make in a playoff series?
Well, isn't that the manager's job, they say, right? The people text in
Wow.
at 609-403-0973 says, well, that's the manager's job.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't trust the manager. A lot of people think the manager that's not his strong suit, is making these decisions.
Well, this platoon right now is working for him. I mean, whatever buttons he's pushing, it's working out so far.
Pete, my favorite comment when Mike was away was when they tried to give Thompson credit, remember, in Texas, after the one game, and he goes, oh, well, I can't take credit for these guys hitting well. They deserve credit. So Thompson's even saying, don't give me credit.
Phillies lineup today brought to you by Instant Services, South Jersey's premier HVAC, plumbing, electrical service provider. Go to instantservices.com to learn their preventative maintenance memberships and how they can keep your systems running year-round. The lineup has produced so far 3 runs today. They have the lead, but it's been more Luzardo. But are we going to get into a bullpen game? Is it going to be a bullpen decision that makes this game matter? And are we going to get to see the Duran daytime entry? We haven't seen it in the daytime yet. You don't get charged $15 for that. Well, only a night game when he converts the save. That's it.
That's a little better.
Not a daytime, because it's not the same in the daytime.
See, now, I mean, is NBCSN going to show his entrance?
Not in the daytime.
So that's their excuse, right?
Oh,
my gosh.
Bowen with an error.
Here comes the Luzardo blow-up inning right here.
All right, come back. We'll let you know if Luzardo hangs in the game or not. Stick around. Sports Bash live at Urie's in Wildwood for our Phillies Watch Party. All right, 252 Sports Bash live today at Urie's on the foot of the bridge in Wildwood, right here on Exit 4. Sports Bash live, Phillies in the lead. And here we go. Now the decisions start to come in, PG. You got bottom of the 6th. Phil's up 3-1. Luzardo, does he come back for the 7th?
There's a base hit by Harrison Bader. There you go. Oh, that was Trey Turner. I'm sorry. So Trey Turner continues to be hot.
He does. 3 hits today.
3 hits today, including a triple.
Oh, yeah, our boy Robbie's in the house with his Blue Claws jersey on. I like it.
There you go. Luzardo's only at 89 pitches, so, yeah, he's going to come back out.
You think?
I think
Pete,
so.
Josh, you letting Luzardo go back out there?
Absolutely not.
You are afraid of the blow-up.
The
evidence is there. The man has trouble going to third time through the lineup. Why test luck? Why mess with something? Why?
Especially now, not to blow up your blow-up there, but now I have an extra bullpen arm.
Yes.
I've got Alvarado.
You think Alvarado, this is a
I think it is
scenario for him?
100% that Alvarado pitches today. Right?
I bring in Alvarado the next inning.
Well, it's the 6th. So Luzardo's pitch, he has 12 strikeouts. He's at 89 pitches. So you're saying, hat tip to you.
Yep.
You did your job. That's it. What does everybody else out there think? Text in right now. Are you keeping Luzardo in the game or are you taking him out? 609-403-0973. Are you keeping Luzardo in for the 7th or are you taking him out?
Now, if they get a little insurance here, they go up 4 because they have a guy on with nobody out. Schwarber's up. They go up 4-1. Is that more of a reason to bring him out or more of a reason to take him out? There's another. Oh, he catches that ball.
I think if you get a couple runs here, it's a good opportunity to get Alvarado into a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think Alvarado will pitch anyway, especially if it's a close game. It's a 3-1 game with 1 out in the 6th. We'll come back on the other side. John McMullen will join us. We'll see if the Phils end up throwing Luzardo back out there. And then Nick Sirianni at 3:30. We'll have that press conference live for you. Sirianni talks as ahead of the Eagles matchup against the Jets. You hear what he has to say about John Mechie and the balance certain star players' practice time and what happens after practice, having not a lot of these guys on the field. Nick Sirianni discussed that today. He asked if there was any concern about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. You'll hear what he had to say about that coming up in about 40 minutes from now. But coming up next, Johnny Mack. All right, 3 o'clock hour live at Urie's here in Wildwood. Fills up 3-1, bottom six. We'll see what happens with Luzardo if he comes out for the seventh inning. Text in whether or not you think Luzardo should come out for the seventh. 609-403-0973. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 12 strikeouts, 89 pitches. Do you keep them going? Phils have a couple of runners on. First and third, 2 outs. We'll keep you updated on that. John McMullen, it's brought to you by Broadleaf Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your trusted source for heating, plumbing, service, and installation for generations. Call 609-390-3907. Online at broadleaf.net. I was wondering, John, today if I missed my spot on Birds 365, but I forgot. They are still in the training camp for one more day. Today was the final day of these morning practices. Is that how it works?
Yeah, final day of training camp portion of practice, which, only resonates for, it's different from training camp, but it's the last fully open practice of the year. So we won't get to see a full practice from the Eagles as reporters until next spring. So it's, you get to watch 15, 20, 25 minutes of regular season practices. So when they get back after the Jets game back to practice, it'll be regular season mode. Training camp officially over.
Well, a lot of stuff happening ahead of this game on Friday against the Jets. Let's start there with that game on Friday against the Jets. Do we anticipate, you heard from Nick today, you heard from Patula yesterday, we heard from Vic on Monday. Do we anticipate that these battles will play out on Friday night, which is pretty rare for the Eagles?
Yeah, I think defensively, I think you're going to see, but again, injuries crop up and it could affect it. Drew Makuba hurt his hamstring yesterday. He was not practicing today, so hamstring with a speed guy. To me, that's very unlikely that he's going to play against the New York Jets. So it'll be mainly Sidney Brown, Tristan McCullum, Andre Sam at safety. And at corner, worst potential moment for Kaylee Ringo, who was, losing the job anyway, but he came up with a quad injury after Tuesday's practice. So, it'll be scaled down. The guys who are less competing, Jacorian Bennett obviously will certainly play. Going to be interesting to see how they handle Adoree Jackson from the standpoint of they might need him early in the season, so they might be very, very cautious with him. Obviously, offensively, you're not going to see any key players, period. But defensively, you'll see a couple guys.
Yeah, we'll get to the offense in a second. You mentioned Adoree Jackson. If they were playing tomorrow night, Thursday night, would Jackson be your pick? Would he be your bet to win that spot?
Yeah, he would be my bet to at least be the starter early in the season. Now, ultimately, I think they're going to try to get to Jacorian Bennett. How quickly that happens is the issue. How quickly he can learn the defense. He's only been taking second team reps over the past couple days, so it hasn't been. But they still have some time. That's one of the things with playing early on Friday. Cuts are Tuesday of next week, and then you have all that preparation time for September 4th against Dallas. So there's some time to get them up to speed, and you can do it behind closed doors, so to speak. Sometimes I think the Eagles are waiting for this day, so we're not there, and they can pull everything out behind closed doors.
John, obviously, you take a look at the safety spot, Makuba, and if they can't play on Friday night, does that help or hurt his chances, do you think?
Well, I think it would hurt because it's, he missed a lot of time earlier with the shoulder problem, and now he's going to miss some time with the hamstring. But when he was out there, he made, splash plays, and they want to get there. So I always make the comparison to a GPS. You know, when you punch in an address in your car, it's going to get you there. It might take a couple turns, you know, but it'll keep rerouting you until you end up where you want to go. Ultimately, I think they want to end up with Drew Makuba as the starting safety. Whether that happens week 1 or week 4 or week 8, I think they'll eventually get there. But the fact that he's not able to practice makes it more difficult for week 1.
Campbell have a bigger role right off the bat than you thought he would?
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends when. I mean, originally, yeah, because none of us thought he was going to be practicing, including Vic Fangio, until sometime in August, and he was there day one. So from that standpoint, yeah, I think he's going to be a big part of this defense on day one. And he's another guy. I don't even expect him to play against the Jets. And he's getting more of the first team reps now than Jeremiah Trotter. And that's a difficult one because Jeremiah Trotter, like Kaylee Ringo hasn't played well. Sidney Brown, I wouldn't say has played poorly, but, you know, he's just been sort of average. Trotter's had a really good camp, a really good summer. But, I mean, you know, Campbell has such a big upside that it's tough, and they want to get him on the field as quickly as possible, and he's healthy, and it's trending in that direction.
John McMullen's with us. Birds 365 and Sports Illustrated. Eagles continuing the final day of training camp portion of their practices. They're getting ready for Friday night against the Jets here. And obviously, you know, Tahad Campbell, a big boost to have him healthy. I would imagine that means that Kobe Dean, well, I would imagine he doesn't please on the pup list to start the season. Now how that's going to work on this week, the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, he'll be on the pup list to start. I think, you know, obviously he's coming back from a very serious injury. So I you know, best case scenario, probably mid-season for Nakobe Dean. Hopefully everything goes well. But it's going to be a while, as Vic said. I mean, I think people got fooled by Kobe's been around. He's been doing different things, and he looks healthy. And if you saw him at practice doing rehab, he looks completely fine. But that's an injury that needs a certain amount of time to heal properly. And you know, he did it in the playoffs in January, so it's gonna take some time. And yeah, he's definitely not going to be there week 1.
What
certainly.
do you think about the rest of that position with Trotter and Smile Mondin?
Well, like I said, Trotter's had a very good summer. I think Smile as well, but to a different level as a rookie, day 3 pick. He's had a good summer. I think they're more talented at linebacker than they were last year when it comes to depth. But, you know, they are missing the veteran sort of savviness and calming presence of Oren Burks. So it's one of those things where I think they have better backups, but it's, to use the baseball analogy you've probably heard me use many times, you know, Oren Burks was a great utility man. There's a trick to being able to just come in cold or play occasionally and play at a high level versus somebody who's expected to be a starter and all that. So if Smile Mondin has to be the starter because of injuries, I'd feel better than if it were Oren Burks because he's more gifted, he's more talented. Certainly the same with Trotter. But if you needed somebody in the little run like Oren had last year, I'd rather have Oren Burks. So it depends how you kind of frame it.
How, in your mind, will we see that full training camp and obviously season games don't factor into this point, but how do we see Cooper DeJean's role different this year from last year, if at all?
Well, it's going to be different because he's going to be on the field no matter what. So he's going to be on the field in base defense, which I chuckle every time I say that. It's not the base defense; it's a sub package. But when they have on the field, which Vic said they used 160 times last year, so he's going to be an every down player. He's going to play either safety or outside cornerback in the base defense, and then when they play their nickel, which is really their base defense, which they play 80% of the time, maybe more. And there's 3 corners on the field. He'll go back to the slot. So the vast majority of his time will be spent in the slot, but he will be on the field on every down, and it's just dependent on those. When they're playing only 2 cornerbacks, is he playing outside cornerback or is he playing safety? And again, they used that defense 160 or so times last year. So you're talking about less than 10 times per game. So it's not a big deal, but the fact that you have one of your best players on the field every down was important for Vic Fangio this year. So he's going to be on the field every single down.
And then you take a look at, the other spot, I guess, would be the edge rushers and how that's kind of materialized in training camp. You get to the end of the training camp, do they feel that they have enough at that spot? I know the hashtag no movement comes out a lot, but, are they still looking around to upgrade the edge position to some big names that are available now?
Well, I hashtag no to the big names, but you hashtag yes to they need help. And I've been pretty consistent. I can't believe they're entering a season with this edge rushing group. So, that is one of the positions to keep an eye on. They're not bringing in Trey Hendrickson for $35 million, giving up. What they're looking for would be a Jacorian Bennett of edge rushers, a young player who maybe is blocked by a good edge rushing room elsewhere, or maybe hasn't panned out to what they thought in his original city, and the Eagles maybe liked him in the draft, and trade a player for player. Whether that's I think Jahan Dotson's a guy that could be under sort of the radar trade candidate that could get you something back, or Haley Ringo even. Somebody needs a corner and you try to get an edge rusher. But no, they're not bringing in the Trey Hendricksons of the world.
All right, John, let's flip over to the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, they made the trade. I have a couple days to dissect it. Got a chance to talk to Petula yesterday, and today Nick Sirianni. What do they think he can add to the team?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's so late, but that's one of the reasons. This is a trade that didn't make a lot of sense to me because the Eagles look pretty deep, at least for them. I said this is probably the best wide receiver room in the Nick Sirianni era, and that's before they got John Mechie. So right now there seems like a little redundancy. The fact that he's not going to push Jahan Dotson if Jahan's here. So you're talking about a 4th or 5th receiver, so your depth's a little bit better. But he doesn't play special teams. So normally if you're that low on the roster, you need to play special teams, and he hasn't done that in his career. He was a star at Alabama, didn't do it with Houston in the NFL. So unless there's another shoe to drop, and if you move somebody like that, well, then it makes more sense, the back end. But right now, he's just, you feel a little bit better if he had to play versus one of the younger receivers. And that was before Johnny Wilson. We still don't know how serious it is, but it looked pretty serious. So he might be out for a significant period. And then you have Anaya Smith and Darius Cooper, who are, good stories, but John Mechie's, I've seen him for 2 practices, and you can tell right away he's better than those guys. So you've improved the back end of your receiving group, but again, not going to help on special teams, not going to play as long as AJ and Devontae are healthy. So it's kind of, all right. I guess, if you look at it from the standpoint of Harrison Bryant wasn't going to make the Eagles, and you say, all right, let's do a deal. Nick Caserio and Howie are very close. Let's do a deal. We're going to cut this guy. You're going to cut that guy. And that, if you look at it that way, maybe it makes some sense.
Tell us a little bit about Darius Cooper. It seems that everybody we've talked to seems like he's going to make this team, that this is a guy that It's kind of come out of nowhere and is impressed enough that some people think he's going to make the team. Does that make that more difficult for him, or do you agree that no, this guy's done enough to probably make it? Where do you kind of put him on this list?
No, Mechie makes it more difficult. It wouldn't surprise me if they waived him. They want to continue to work with him, but he could use a year on the practice squad. A lot of things it's funny. I was talking to a scout who was, there to sort of scout the back end of the roster for the CFL, and the Eagles were telling them they didn't even huddle in Charleston State, where he came from in college. They never huddled. So they're teaching him just sort of the basics of doing things like breaking the huddle, alignment, and things like that. So, I think what obviously people aren't paying attention to things like that. We're doing in practice is looking at splash plays, and he's made a number of exciting plays, and that's what happens at training camp. So it stands out to people, but some of the other stuff, he's got a long way to go. So I still think it's less than 50-50 that he makes the team, but he's put himself in the conversation. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Eagles waived him and started him on the practice squad.
All right, we'll see battles won, lost, and fought for on Friday night on defense. The offensive side of the ball seems like everything's okay there. What about left guard, real quick? Are you beginning to think that Dickerson will be ready for opening night, and if not, who's got that left guard spot now?
Well, I think if you leave it up to Landon, he's going to play. So it's kind of going to be kind of up to the Eagles doctors, and they might have to hold him off if they want to. But he'll be back early in the season. Week one, I do think they may play a little games with Brett Toth, and that they might waive him, not waive him, release him because he's vested, and make a wink-wink deal, get him back on the practice squad, and then elevate him for a game. They did that with Pink Gates last year, and they could keep one of their younger players who isn't ready to play, like Cameron Williams or Miles Hinton, on the offensive line. So I think they might play some of those roster games. But as far as who would play, it would either be Toth or Darian Kennard playing left guard if Landon's unable to go. But that'll be a short-term thing, couple weeks at the most.
All right, John, well, we'll see, too, by the way. A lot of murmurs about the Eagles possibly not being done, making trades. Howie wanting to make one more little itchy before the season starts. We'll see if there's something that he has lined up, and we'll talk more about that later on. Friday night, Eagles-Jets right here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, John, we'll talk to you then.
All right, thanks, Mike.
There's John, of course, here on the Sports Bash this hour, brought to you by Broadleys Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, your trusted store. Plumbing service and installation. Call them 609-390-3907. Broadleys.net. Phil's 3-2. Luzardo did not come back out for the seventh inning, PG. It was Robertson into the game, and he promptly gave up a long ball.
Yep.
And
then
it's now 3-2.
Tanner Banks came in to relieve him, and he got out of the jam.
Now, no Alvarado there. I was wrong. I said 100% chance.
They did show him, and he was kind of loosening up a little bit.
Looked like he was a little dumbfounded. Like, hey, when are they going to come to me? How come not me here? I don't know. I'm a little like, I don't know what happens here. Because, you don't have him in these spots. And I'm a big proponent of you have to see guys in positions that they're going to be in the big moments. How do I know if Tanner Banks can pitch in the seventh if he never pitches in the seventh? So if I'm going to use a spot there, it's a one-run game. Do I want to use a guy that's not going to be available to me, or do I want to see how this guy reacts?
Do you put him in the fire right away, or do you ease him back in?
Well, so far they said, no, we're not putting you in the fire yet. Now, who's going to pitch the eighth? Who's going to pitch the eighth? We know who will pitch tonight. Although, is Duran available tonight? Pitch back-to-back days.
It's a good question. They do have an off day tomorrow.
Keep it locked. We'll keep it rolling here. When we come back, you'll hear from Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni about today's practice, training camp, and everything that's happening up at Eagles camp. That's next This is the Sports Bash live from Urie's Waterfront Restaurant, 588 West Rio Grande Avenue, Wildwood, at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood. Don't forget, stop on out. It's your last chance down here in Wildwood, Cape May County area. If you want to get your picture taken with the Lombardi Trophy, it is right out there in the hallway. I can see it from here. Stop out and see us. Watch the end of the Phils with us, 97.3 ESPN. Couple hits, and the Phils now lead it 7-2. They broke things open in the bottom of the seventh. Schwarber with a base hit. Stott got it all going, though, and a little number there by Trey Turner. Then he hustled around the bases. Phils lead it 7-2. 16 hits, PG. 16.
21 on Monday, 16 today.
So Robertson came in the game, made it a 3-2 game. He gave up a home run to Suarez, and you start to feel like this is going to be a little nail-biter here. Phillies bullpen could get the job done. Tanner Banks gets a strikeout to end the inning. 3-2.
Now I think there's no question we see Jose Alvarado, right?
Probably. This might be his shot to get into a game, because at this point now I hate to say it, you know who should be possibly up right now, score a couple more runs?
Who's that?
Romano.
Oh, this is a mop-up duty for Romano?
You got to get to a point, if he's on the roster, I don't want to use higher leveraged pitchers.
Yeah.
He's got to be the guy. Like, if they score another run here, make it a 6-run game, let's say if Harper hits a bomb right here, it's a 7-run game, that's Romano's job.
Yeah.
He's the mop-up man.
It's unbelievable. I mean, he's now a mop-up guy.
I mean, he looks like the guy that should be putting pizza boxes together.
Now, he's not going to be invited to the postseason party.
I would be shocked if he's on the postseason roster.
Me too.
But if they score and there's a base hit by Harper,
hit.
you send, and now you're up by 6.
Yep.
You got a 6-run game in the 8th. Can Romano come in this spot?
So this should be.
Problem is you don't want him to pitch 2 innings. Do you send Tanner Banks back out there?
No, I think you finish the game up with Alvarado and Romano at this point.
Romano in the 8th.
Alvarado in the 9th.
Alvarado in the 9th.
There you go.
That's what you do.
And another sweep. Hopefully.
Now, somebody brought up an interesting point earlier, and I agree with them. I read something about the Mariners have been on on this trip. They've been rained out or had rain delays in 4 out of 9 games or something crazy like that. So, all right.
They were in Williamsport, too, doing that whole Little League World Series stuff.
Yeah. And it was raining
Signing
that
a bunch
night,
of
too.
Autographs, yeah.
609-403-0973. All of a sudden, Phils are busting it open. They're up by 6 runs, 8-2 in the bottom of the 7th. So we'll see who ends up coming out and pitch the 8th. My vote would go for Romano. PG, who you got?
Yeah, Romano, and then Alvarado.
Josh?
I go Romano and Ross.
I forgot about
Joe
Ross. Forgot about Ross. Forgot Ross is still even on the active roster right now.
I mean, he's hanging around for dear life, Mike.
That's another failed.
I haven't seen him since he's been activated.
Let me pull up the last time he pitched. I thought it was in the Nationals series.
That's another failed experiment, though, by Dombrowski.
Bryson Stott, by the way, over 300 the last month. And today, in the game, Bryson Stott, 3 for 4. Kepler, 2 for 4. Bader, 2 for 3. Your 7, 8, 9 hitters have 7 hits.
Ross pitched August 17th against the Nationals. He pitched 1 2/3 innings.
Now,
Give up no runs.
Alvarado hasn't pitched in 80 games.
Ross has not given up a run since July 20th.
Well, he was hurt.
He was, but he's had 4 outings in the month of August. 0 earned runs.
By the way, Bryson Stott in the month of August, 356 for all the Stott haters out there. I was one of them. I said the only spot in the lineup for him is 9th, and guess what? That's where he belongs, hitting 9th. And you got a guy hitting 9th and producing like that, shows you how this team can start rocking and rolling, because you get your 9-hole hitter on, then you got Turner, Schwarber, Harper. One of those guys should be able to get your 9-hole hitter in. And today, you got Bader, Kepler, and Stott on base, 7 hits. Turner, by the way, 4 for 5 today. He's up to 300. His on base is 354. All right. So we'll get you up to date. The Mariners have made a pitching change. Right now, let's go to Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni. This is him from his press conference today, getting ready for the Eagles and the Jets right here on 97.3 ESPN.
I was going to talk to you yesterday about how it's important for position coaches, not just to be good teachers and good coaches, but to work together. It seems like you have that on your staff. How do you get that? How do you build that? How important is that?
Yeah, again, if we want our players to connect, it starts with us as coaches of leading the way as far as, leading by example. And we try to do that as coaches to promote that with our players. And so, yeah, so important too, that, what Walsh said with him and, especially him, Clint, Bobby working in that front seven, working together, right? The group rush is one of the most important things that happen. When you see a quarterback break contain or things like that, it's, there's obviously different reasons for that, but sometimes it's not working in unison as a group. And so it's so important that those guys are on the same page. And I love the fact that Clint and Bobby and Walsh are all on the same page and have a good relationship. So it's just another verification of our culture, of what we want to, have here with the connection, with the togetherness.
What did you know about John Mechie before the trade? What do you think he can add to the team?
Yeah, obviously really liked him coming out and, with, all our guys, having a bunch of Alabama guys on the roster, talking to those guys as you'd see an Alabama game when he came out of college, because obviously he made a lot of plays there. And so it was always a fan of his game, and then being able to watch him, he's quick. He's very quick. He's really, the thing that really stood out to me is how tough he is. And, just with how he blocks, just how he finishes on the sideline with the ball in his hands, you can just really see there's some similarities that you can tell they got coached by the same guys in college, because there's some similarities to how they finish with that ball in their hands to Devontae. And so, just always been a fan of his game and excited about the things that he can add to this football team.
How do you balance, being conservative with certain star players' workloads versus what happens after practice?
Yeah, everybody's on a individualized plan, but everybody, there is, make no mistake about it, to get ready to play in the season, you got to practice, or else your habits aren't going to be sharp. And so everybody, I wouldn't say, Geoff, that we just are conservative with them. If somebody's going through something and he's a second stringer or third stringer and he has something that he's dealing with, we'll be conservative with that guy as well. Because at this time, and that's obviously the same case with our guys that are starters. And so everybody, we look at that with everybody. But if they're ready to go, they're practice, right? Unless, something went on the day before, their workload was a little high, and then maybe we'll pull back a little bit. So everybody's is individualized, but, if they're ready to go, they're going to practice. And if they have something that's bothering them, that we feel like, our trainers and our doctors feel like they need limitations, we'll do that as well.
To that end, Nick, any concern with AJ and Devontae specifically that they won't be ready for week one?
Yeah, and we, again, don't have to get all into that information at this particular time. Bob will get you all the things for practice today. But, they're working really hard to get themselves ready to go.
You have one more day of camp left, but with it wrapping up, is there one thing that stands out to you about the last few weeks, either positive that you think the team improved on, or just something about this last month that stands out to you?
Yeah, you're always trying to improve, and you see we do different types of drills to help our guys improve in certain areas. And so, there's been a couple things, I guess my thought is, hey, we're still in camp right now, but I know there are certain things that are so important for game 1, game 2, game 3, the first month of that season, that we're working on a little bit even more as camp goes on. And so just want to continue to get better at those things, because we know how vital they are for opening games. And, yes, we still have one more day of training camp here, a lighter day today. But then it's going to be the shift of the focus will be, hey, getting ready for this first game of the season.
On a personal level, what's it been like to see Kevin Patullo in this new role, and how have you seen him put a stamp on the offense?
Yeah, I think he's done. Like I've said before, I think he's just so hungry for this job that he's as you would expect from Kevin. He puts everything he has into it. Always here, working hard to do what he can do for our offense to get them put them in positions to succeed. And like I said, he has great relationships with the players on this team, where he can have a lot of good communication and dialogue with them. I just think he's done a really good job. The operation seems, whether we're doing operations out at practice or whether we're doing them at games or whether we're doing them at a joint practice or whether we're doing it at a practice in the stadium, that has been really good. And as expected, just because we've been together so long, of that communication of what's happening on different downs, different situations, and Kevin's done a really good job, and Parks has done a good job kind of taking Kevin's role to help Kevin out in that scenario. So I think he's done a really good job so far, and look for him to continue to do so.
On defense, you're going to have probably rookies either starting or contributing heavily again early in the season. You guys did that last year. As a head coach, how do you with rookies in particular, prepare them for that? How do you equip them?
Yeah, practice, all the different things we do in practice, again, when you put guys out there, you trust those guys. You trust them to be in there in those situations, and that doesn't happen. Again, all your confidence of things grow in practice, whether that's my confidence in a play. If I'm deciding to go for it on 4th down, right? Am I confident in the players that we're throwing it to and the play that's being called? Well, it's the same thing with practice when you put somebody out in the field. Are you confident with those players and, with the things that are being called to utilize those players?
At the reserve tackle spot, you have, do you want to have a swing guy there?
I don't know if that's... Yeah, it doesn't have to be, Jeff, right? We'll play if the guy's better on the right, we'll play him on the right. If a guy's better on the left, we'll play him on the left. If the guy's better overall and he's a swing guy, I guess I've done that every single way that you can imagine in my time in the NFL, where sometimes you got a guy that just plays right, that's a backup. Sometimes you have one that just plays left, and sometimes you have a swing guy. And so I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned how that looks, as long as we're ready to go as far as having a guy in each position that we need to back up.
Staff development, have you considered giving position coaches more responsibility in these preseason games, whether it's defensive play calling, game management, things like that?
No, and here's why, Zach. We're going through our process for us to be ready for a game. Obviously, I've seen that be done, and it works for some people, and that's fine. But everyone's mission is different during training camp. Everyone, in a lot of aspects, everyone's mission is the same, but everyone has different aspects of what they're doing. My job and what I want to do is to sharpen the tools of the things the coaches need to get ready for week 1, just like we're doing for the players. And that's kind of an example thing too, right? We need that. First and foremost, we need that work to be able to go through and get ourselves ready to be sharp, because it's been a while since we've done that. But also, you just want to set that example that, we're all trying to improve in things. I used to be around a place where it was like some of the young assistant position coaches would, hey, you go help out with defensive tackle this week instead of the defensive ends. And I still feel the same way about that as I do with this. You want them to continue to sharpen the tools of the things that they're going to be doing in the season, just like with the players.
Further on the rookies, to follow up about the rookies, how has Jahad Campbell specifically shown to you things that give you confidence in him?
Obviously, again, in practice, you see him make plays, you see him be able to defeat blocks, you see him he really has great motor to the football, tough, length. And so, and just growing in the defense every day. Again, it's the daily things, but those are some particular traits that I've seen.
Going back to the pass rush drills, we see Connor Barwin as like the stand-in quarterback for those. I guess, what are some of the behind-the-scenes ways that he helps get the most out of practice? And is there something about those drills in particular that he does that we might not notice that helps those guys?
Yeah, obviously you see him in linebacker drills too. Put the pads on, not the pads on, but the dummy on, so he gets a strike, right? So Bobby doesn't have to get that every single time. And he's big and strong, and so he can handle that. Well, it's the same thing there. He's able to, he's a good athlete. He's able to catch a snap sometimes when you don't have as good athlete back there. The guy drops the snap, and the ball's on the ground. And then they're working on, the defensive line is working on finishing. We talk about the ball so much. They're working on finishing with the strip attempt. And, Connor's got the pad on his arm. I guess I thought he was a little tougher than that. But, no, that's for them to be able to simulate that. It's just he's a good enough athlete to be able to get out of the way in those areas. But Connor, and why he's in those drills. But Connor's so valuable to our football team because, he's helping develop, helping us as coaches, helping Howie and his staff of helping develop guys. And that's your job as a coach is to constantly develop. And the more resources I have and Howie has to be able to develop our team, those are welcomed.
What do you like about Cooper DeJean outside and cornerback, and what made you want to try him in this point in training?
Yeah, again, just his versatility. You want to be able to have versatility out there, and Coop has that. Coop, obviously he can do a lot of different things. He can punt return. He can play nickel at a high level. He's played corner at a high level. Just a really good football player, and you're testing things out in this time and working different things at this time always.
He's gotten first team reps, obviously by circumstance to a certain point, but as an undrafted kid, as a head coach, how does somebody like that catch your eye? Is it more consistent?
Yeah, you got it. Both, yeah. It can't just be splash plays. It's got to be consistency. But the splash plays is what initially catches your eye. I've had a lot of free agents, make our football team in the past from all the way back. I'm just speaking of receiver, thinking of three guys that come to my mind. You have Zach Pascal. Obviously, he was here with us. You have Tyrell Williams from the Chargers and Dontrell Inman. And all those guys gave us a lot of quality reps. So you're always looking for guys that can contribute no matter how you acquired them. And, again, you're looking for consistency, but you also have to have the talent to be able to shine, to get in there. And, he's done a nice job so far.
Joe Douglas on the sideline with the headset, which is atypical for a front office person. What's his role in the game day operations?
Yeah, again, I'm not going to get into everybody's operations there. Joe's just a great resource for us to have, and he's awesome at his job, so we appreciate having him.
All right, thanks, folks.
All right, there's Nick Sirianni, and I thought right at the end there you heard him talk about Darius Cooper. Got first-team reps, as John McMullen asked him there. What's his possible chances of making this team? We'll talk more about that coming up with Geoff Mosher during Football at 4, plus his thoughts on John Mechie. You heard what Nick Sirianni said about what he can add to the team. John said earlier, it's obvious that he's better than the back-end guys on this team. So does he have a bigger role than we thought? We'll get into that in 15 minutes from now. But coming up next, it's our Unsportsmanlike Moment of the Day with Evan, Canty, and Michelle right here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
I don't know why more teams that are terrible at football don't act like the Cowboys. The Cowboys are done with football. Football is so irrelevant to the Dallas Cowboys. If you think about the last 40 years in the NFL, some of the hardest decisions that actually worked out in the history of the league over the last 40 years have been made by Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Trading Herschel Walker was an impossible decision that people thought was nuts. How'd that work out? Firing Tom Landry, nuts. Hiring Jimmy Johnson. Oh, that could be crazy, hiring a college coach. How about firing Jimmy? Well, that wasn't good. He still won a Super Bowl with Barry Switzer. No one thought was a great NFL coach.
No.
Great college coach. He still won a Super Bowl with that guy. Why don't more franchises actually act like the Cowboys? And since they're not winning in football, try to win at the box office?
It's a very interesting point Evan Cohen makes on Unsportsmanlike. It's our Unsportsmanlike moment of the day here on the Sports Bash live at Urie's. But it's not realistic. Come on. See, the Cowboys have given themselves this reputation of being a clown show. So they can act like a clown because everybody already believes it. Doesn't work for the Cincinnati Bengals. Doesn't work for the Miami Dolphins, the New York Jets. You know, people just think the Jets are cursed. The Dolphins just are never going to be any good. But when you think about the Cowboys, part of the allure of the Cowboys to people who aren't Cowboys fans is the belief that they have a moron running the organization. That's what makes it what the Cowboys are. Is we all know in the end, they always have a lot of talent, but they'll screw it up because they are so poorly managed. And that's why other teams can't do it. Because, quite frankly, they're not managed as poorly as the Cowboys are. Now, you might say it's a smart move for Jerry Jones to be a carnival barker. He's made a ton of money off it. He has. A lot of people have done a great job in this world of branding themselves and living off branding, on branding themselves to people who are not very smart. Jerry Jones is very smart. He branded himself to people who aren't smart. Cowboy fans. It's the perfect way to go.
I see what you did there.
It's a perfect thing to do. Let me find the dumbest people I can find, just market ourselves, and they'll buy into it like a bunch of idiots. Seems like it's a pretty smart move by Jerry Jones. The problem is that, as Evan Cohen lays out, not everybody's as dumb as Cowboy fans, so they're not going to buy into it. See the difference?
I do. And half of those things he mentioned, I mean, it's been 30 years now.
Jimmy Johnson, Barry
Tom
Switzer.
Landry, yeah. I mean,
by the way, Alvarado did get in the game.
He did.
And pitched a scoreless inning with a strikeout and got cheered.
And Cal Raleigh, 8 strikeouts this series, only 1 hit.
You surprised that the fans cheered for Alvarado?
Kind of, yeah.
Welcome back, Jose Alvarado. Max Kepler, by the way, doubled and scored to make it 9-2 now, Phillies.
Max Kepler's on fire.
3 for 5 for Kepler today. He's upped his average to 216. Is Nick Castellanos ever going to get his job back? When we come back, we'll check in on the Eagles. We'll go inside the Birds. Football at 4. Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast gives us all the latest.
Is that a Schwarbaum?
On the Eagles, and that is a Schwarbaum.
Wow.
Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast, brought to you by the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Go inside the gallery, bar, book, and games. It's the place to be at Ocean Casino this football season. We're there every Monday. Go to the gallery, go to Ocean, go for the win. For more information, visit oceanac.com. By the way, Phil's up now 11-2. As you heard right before the break there, a Schwarber bomb, another bomb by Schwarber
45.
to give the Phillies a 11-2 lead. They 3 for 5 ribbies today for Schwarber. Turner's 5 for 6 today with 3 runs scored and 2 ribbies. You go down the bottom of the lineup, Pete. You got Bader 2 for 4, Kepler 3 for 5, Stott 3 for 5. So between the 7, 8, 9, 1, and 2 hitters, you got 5, 8, 10, 13, 16 hits from those spots in the order.
And Schwarber, 45th home run, 106 RBIs.
That's his career high, by the way.
And he keeps adding to it.
He has a career high in RBI with 30-some games left to go. Now, there were a lot of people who kept wondering if he would have more RBI opportunities hitting lower, not in the leadoff spot. I think you're getting your answer there. The fact that he's not hitting leadoff, he's getting more opportunity to drive in runs, and he is going to shatter that number of RBIs. By the way, we are live at Urie's here in Wildwood. Of course, our Phillies Watch Parties all season long. This is the place to be at the Sliders Bar. Starting to fill up in here, PG. The other side of the bar is hopping over there. We got the Lombardi Trophy. It's your last chance down here in Cape May County to get your picture taken with the Lombardi Trophy. Friday, we will have it with us one final time this summer over at Ventnor Social on Friday afternoon if you want to head to Atlantic County and get your picture taken with the Lombardi Trophy before the Phillies, the Eagles start their season. But it's the final time down here in Cape May County, and we've had a great time here at Urie's all summer long, right here at the foot of the bridge. It's pretty cool that, we have these Phillies day parties, watch parties, and the people show up with their Phillies gear. And then you have a bunch of people that come to get their picture taken with the Lombardi Trophy, and they have their Eagles gear on. And, of course, they got the great food, the Sliders Bar. They got the Sliders menu, special for all these shows that we've done and every day. Now, I actually walked around here for the first time, because this place is huge. Dan told me that this place sits over 500 people.
Wow.
Do you know that?
I did not know that.
So I went outside on the deck.
Is pretty big, though.
I didn't realize. I didn't go all the way around the deck before. So they have a bar outside on the deck, and then the deck actually protrudes out over the water, but then it makes like a right, and it's like a whole thing. But this other room over here, did you know they put the Phillies game, a projection up on the big wall? I mean, they must have like a 10-foot wall in there that has the Phillies game playing on it. He said this has become like the place to be to watch. Like he says, people will come here like on a regular weeknight and sit over there, have dinner, and watch the game on the wall over there. So,
I like that.
Don't forget, and I talked to Dan about the playoffs, October baseball, they will have all the games on here. And what I can tell you, okay, this is key, the sound is on. You can listen to the games in here. They put the sound on for all the Eagles and the Phillies games. So Phillies playoff games will be here at Urie's all fall once the Red October begins.
The Red October, speaking of that.
You're ready.
It's getting there. Last night, 45,000 on a Tuesday night.
You're not getting that in other stadiums, though. That's the crazy part about it.
Absolutely not.
Isn't that nuts? The day game today.
A day game, and it's probably not a sellout, but it's, you're not getting that in Pittsburgh.
It might be sold out, quote unquote, but not every seat was full. They did pan the stadium. It's hot out there today. There was a hurricane, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and the game just ended.
Phil's win. By the way, they scored double-digit runs in all 3 games in the series. Today, they hit with runners in scoring position. You ready for this number? 22 times. They were 8 for 22 with runners in scoring position today. They left 13 runners on base, which is not good. The Mariners, conversely, were 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. Every Philly starting pitcher in this series had double-digit strikeouts. Luzardo had 12 today.
For me, that's very important because of the news with Wheeler, Ranger, what he did on Monday. We saw last night with Sanchez again, and now today with Luzardo, a great start, great 3 starts in a row. That's the key for me.
Well, and as we talked about the other day, today is August 20th. What's it going to look like on September 20th? How is this pitching staff going to kind of materialize by the time we get to September the 20th? Will we have a better feel of the whole staff as we get to September the 20th? Because yesterday we asked the poll question at Mike Gill Show. Sanchez, by the way, we didn't give Sanchez enough love at the beginning of the show because the game was going on already.
Yeah.
But Cristopher Sánchez last night stepped up and pitched like an ace, right? There was no questions about whether Cristopher Sánchez, after that game last night, no one's saying, oh, I don't know if he could do it. I think Cristopher Sánchez showed that he belongs and he could be the ace of the staff. That I don't think is really being questioned here. But the question would be, who's number two, right? Who's number two? And think about this. If you could have had an exclamation point after the Wheeler news to make everybody feel a lot better about the whole situation, this was the weekend. I mean, somebody tweeted out, if you didn't know anything about baseball and watched this weekend, you would have thought the Mariners were the worst team in baseball. The Phillies beat up on a team that's probably going to make the playoffs, by the way.
And they're not the worst team in baseball. They made all those moves at the deadline. They have 68 wins. So
yeah. Bryson Stott, big day today. Kepler, big day today with a home run and a double. Big day today for the top of the lineup as well. All right. Big weekend. It's the Eagles' final preseason game. Questions that need to be answered. Today is the final training camp practice. And the Eagles getting ready for the New York Jets. And it's time for Football at 4 with Geoff Mosher from PhillyVoice.com and, of course, the Inside the Birds podcast. And there he is.
Nice shirt, Mosher.
Wow, look at that.
Phillies.
You got there?
It's for the Phillies. The Philly shirt.
Is it a Philly shirt? It is a Philly shirt. Look at that. Little Phillies button-up shirt for Geoff Mosher. All right, Moshe, Friday night, obviously it's the last tune-up here, and normally we would talk about the last preseason game with not a lot of attention because nobody plays. Will that be different this Friday night?
Well, it was poised to be. You know, guys like Andrew Makuba would have ordinarily been in line to play as they continue the competition there at safety. But, you know, with his injury, it looks like once again he won't play. I think we talked about this Monday, Mike. I was of the mindset that Jihad Campbell probably not going to play. And if you notice, they signed a camp body linebacker today. And I think for that reason is because Jihad's probably not going to play. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jeremiah Trotter Jr. also didn't make it onto the field. And if they just went with, you know, Smile Mondin and Lance Dixon and the new guy that they brought in. And there's another linebacker in camp whose name is escaping me. But it wouldn't shock me if, Bourne's certainly not going to play. Jihad Campbell not going to play. And I don't think Trotter's going to be out there either.
Yeah, you know, everything seems to be on the defensive side of the ball. That corner battle on Sunday night is – how do you kind of handicap what needs to happen Sunday night? Or is that game not the be-all, end-all?
Not the be-all, end-all, but an important game for Jacorian Bennett. He's going to get a lot of action, going to get a lot of reps. It wouldn't shock me if Adoree Jackson did not play, but not because he's won a starting job, but because at this point, Vic Fangio probably knows, as he once said a couple of weeks ago, what Adoree Jackson is and is not. At this point, he needs to see Jacorian Bennett get a lot of reps. He needs to see Mac McWilliams get a lot of reps, and he needs to see Kelee Ringo continue to get reps if Ringo is healthy. If not, if he's out with the injury, then he won't play, obviously. If you remember last year, I think Devin White did not play in this game, and everybody thought that was like a sign that Devin White made the team, and, you know, Adam and Jeff, what are you guys talking about, that he's in jeopardy? Well, you know, as we know, he didn't make the team. And that's where I think Adoree Jackson will fall into that same group of players who probably won't get reps, but don't read too much into that.
Yeah, and I guess because the safety spot, you might see a situation because Makuba probably will not play the game. Does that mean Sidney Brown gets a chance to, you know, impress? Do they want to hold him back? I mean, that'll be a spot to keep an eye on Friday night.
You know, I honestly think it's not as much of a conversation at this point because they're both making the team. Right? I mean, Makuba's going to make the team. Sidney Brown's going to make the team. And your four safeties are going to be those two along with Reed Blankenship and Tristan McCullum most likely. I mean, that's the only real question. I would think McCullum's the lead candidate to make it. And then with Cooper DeJean available to play safety and base, that gives you another body if you want, and he's practiced there. So, you know, it sucks for Makuba. He won't get a chance to get out there with the injury. But he still has 2 more weeks until the season starts. And if Vic thinks he needs 2 weeks of the regular season to get more practice. That's fine. To me, it's like Sidney Brown didn't have a bad camp, so I think we can all rest assured that whoever's out there doesn't mean that they're going to be great, but that they've gotten their reps, they've gotten their time in, they know the defense, and away we go.
Well, obviously that position is not locked up by anybody yet, right?
Correct. It's to me, it's not locked up, but it doesn't have to be. Just like, Nickelback wasn't per se locked up last year when Avonte Maddox started the first 4 weeks of the season, and then they made the change to Cooper DeJean. I'm not trying to sell everybody on the fact that the safety spot is going to be great. What I'm saying is, like, when you're trying to evaluate, well, who's going to start, who versus who, this big competition. Well, they're both on the team. So what's the point? I mean, the healthiest one and the one who can play will play.
Yeah, well, and listen, we know that safety is still not really locked up yet. Outside corner. What do you think? Does Cooper DeJean have a different role this year than he did last year?
Yes. Yeah. Well, he has an expanded role. That's not necessarily. It's different in that it's added. I do believe that by the season opener, he will be playing on first and second down, like rundowns, either at safety or potentially outside corner. But I do also believe that when they go to nickel, he will play nickel unless something happens. The only caveat I'll say is if Howie Roseman swings a trade, like a CJ Gardner-Johnson like trade, where he brings in some really good nickel corner, right? And Vic is so comfortable with this corner, some name that I'm not thinking of right now, that he wants to play Cooper DeJean as a safety, or an outside corner.
There was a report earlier, I guess on Monday after the Eagles made the trade for John Mechie, that some people still believe that there is another trade coming. Could that be a edge rusher? Could that be a corner? But do you think that Howie Roseman still has something he's kicking the tires on?
Well, I'll just tell you this. I mean, Howie does his diligence. He's going to be working the phones because he does every time down to cut down. It would be great, I'm sure, on his mind is edge rusher, offensive guard, with Dickerson's, injury, and then cornerback potentially as well. But those are two of those three positions, corner and edge, are not positions teams are just trying to trade away. Even their top guys off the bench. Now, Howie's got a lot of picks, so you have to look for a situation where maybe where maybe a guy's not happy because of a contract. I know everybody's going to think Trey Hendrickson, but that's not who I'm talking about. I don't have a name in mind. I'm just simply saying there might be some situations that exist where a team is struggling to lock up a long-term player and they're a little wishy-washy on him, like, the Saints and CJ Gardner-Johnson, or the Bills were with Ronald Darby in 2017, that just not on the top of my head. But that's the only those are rare. They don't happen a lot, once every 5 or 6 years. So those are positions that are harder to solidify than, say, offensive guard.
Speaking of offensive guard, Landon Dickerson, Thursday night, yay, nay, and if nay, who takes that spot Thursday on September 4th?
Man, the fact that he's walking around at practice. I think you asked me about A.J. Brown on Monday, right? And whether I was concerned. And I was told you he's out at practice. And not only is A.J. Brown out at practice, he is throwing the quarterback. He's throwing the ball to wide receivers during drills, and I've watched it, right? He's not just arm throwing either. He's stepping in and throwing. That makes me think the hamstring is getting really, really close to being good, because why would you allow him to do that using his lower body if he was that banged up? And with Dickerson, he's walking around. He's got the leg sleeve on. He's having beers after practice with the other offensive linemen. That to me trends well. It all depends on how well he's healing. I can't predict that, but I would be more of the belief that he's going to play than not going to play in the season opener. But Mike, make no mistake, that should not stop Howie Roseman from trying to get some kind of starting caliber guard who can be a backup like Tyler Steen was last year, like Steph Wisniewski in 2017, because you just can't depend right now on Landon Dickerson with all the surgeries that to last.
Not only that, it appears that you can't depend on the depth on this offensive line. Sounds like you think that it's taken a step back from where it's been in years past.
Well, last year, your top backups were Fred Johnson as your swing tackle, who was adequate. I mean, they were able to win games because the other 4 guys were healthy and Fred could hold his own. But Fred, you could obviously tell the drop off. And Tyler Steen would go in there at guard, first off the bench. So you have a 3rd-round pick in year 2, and you had a veteran tackle who had played. Like, who are we talking about right now as your top 2 off the bench? We're not talking about Brett Toth. I'm not going there. So to me, we're talking about Matt Pryor, who I think can be as adequate per se as Fred Johnson, but I'm not sure. Kendall Lamb, not as sure. And who's your top backup interior offensive lineman? Is it Darian Kennard? He's never played in the NFL. It's not like Tyler Steen, right? He's not a high pick. Is it Drew Kendall? He's a 5th-round pick who's never played anything other than center outside of like a game at guard. Okay, so yes, to answer your question, yeah, I don't think it's the same level of depth in the backups that they've had.
Yeah, and you mentioned you're not buying Brett Toth is going to play.
Not at all.
Kenyon Green, who they traded for, has been hurt.
Yeah.
You got that group of rookies, Kendall, Hinton, Cameron Williams. Hinton and Williams are both tackles. Trevor Keegan, they drafted him last year. Or is he a guy that
That's the one, Mike. That's the one where they're getting hurt right now. He just has not played to the level that you would hope. I mean, I get it. He was a 5th-round pick last year. But you would hope this a year under the belt, Stoutland tutelage, that you would see this guy be the first off the bench by now. But, we talked about this on Inside the Birds when they drafted him. He was kind of a polarizing guy for NFL people, a little bit of a beat-up lineman because he played at Michigan. You get a lot of wear and tear on the body, and he just hasn't worked out yet.
All right, you heard from Petula yesterday and Sirianni today on Mechie. Do you have a better thought in your mind as to his role, why he's here, why they made this deal? Is he a guy that you think can contribute, or not really?
No, I think that he could. I think things have to happen in order for him, first of all, to make the 53, which I think there's a better than 50-50 shot at it. We did another Inside the Data today on Inside the Birds with Sam Finkel, who does really good at analytics and metrics. And sometimes you need to look at that more than the actual body of work because there just aren't a whole lot of reps and catches for Johnny Mechie. He missed his entire rookie year from leukemia. In the last 2 years, he's been buried on the depth chart behind guys like Nico Collins and Tank Dell and Steph Diggs, right? I mean, these are pretty good players. So if you look at some of his athletic measurables and other analytics that I'll say, you have to listen to the podcast to get the full feel for it. He kind of profiles similarly to the Jahan Dotson. And if there's a scenario where Jahan Dotson is moved before the deadline, as teams are looking for veteran receivers, that opens up an opportunity for Johnny Mechie, who plays a similar, he's not a true slot. He's not a true Z. He can play both. He has played both, just like Jahan Dotson, has good hands. You got a couple of weeks. You can still get Aniyah Smith and Johnny Wilson as long as Wilson's healthy in there. I just think that there's so much similarities between those two that possibly Mechie could have a role if there's no Jahan Dotson. But if they keep Jahan Dotson and those are your top 3, then it becomes a little murkier, right? Because I would think that Aniyah Smith and Johnny Wilson have done enough to make it, and Darius Cooper can no longer not make the 53. I mean, the guys
you're on the Cooper team.
I mean, how do you let him go? He's been as good as any receiver in camp. So unless you want to be wild and keep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide receiver, no, 7, right? The top 3, then Wilson 4, Smith 5, Mechie 6, and Cooper would be 7. If you want to keep 7 just early on and then play some roster tango after your initial 53, that might happen. But I definitely think there can be a role for Mechie on this team.
All right. Well, that'll be interesting. And Mechie doesn't play special teams, right?
He hasn't, to my knowledge, but I don't know if that means he can. In fact, I think they had him working punt return at his first Eagles practice. I'm not sure if he did today or what was up with that because they weren't in pads today.
All right, football at 4 with Geoff Mosher on this Wednesday. The Eagles play Friday night against the Jets, and you can listen to the game right here. It's a final preseason game that has a little bit more for the Eagles here, especially on defense. Offense, I would imagine you see nobody on the offensive side of the ball. I would imagine, what are you going to get, DTR and Kyle McCord again?
DTR and Kyle McCord, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see Will Shipley. It might be and maybe only a little bit of AJ Dillon. You'll probably see a lot of Montreal Harris, or I'm not sorry, Montreal Johnson. You'll probably see a lot of Shunderick Powell at offensive. I mean, at running back. You'll see, the receivers that we talked about. The Ife Ayadi, whose name I just probably butchered pretty badly. So you'll see the bottom roster guys.
All right, well, Friday night right here on 97.3 ESPN, the final tune-up, and the final time we see Geoff Mosher this week on Football at 4. We'll talk to you Monday, man.
Look forward to it, Mike. Take care.
All right, there's Mosher here on Football at 4, brought to you by the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City, the place to be inside Ocean this football season. Stop out with us on Mondays. See the Sports Bash live at the Fanatics Sportsbook. For more information, visit oceanac.com. Phil's win, Phil's win, Phil's win. They absolutely lambaste. They sweep the Mariners right on out of Citizens Bank Park. And with that, the Phillies score double-digit runs in every game of the series. They are 6 games currently up on the Mets in the National League. We'll see what ends up happening around the baseball world today. The Mets play the Nationals tonight, right? I think the Brewers are off.
Brewers play the Cubbies tonight.
Oh, that's right. They had that rain out, so they're playing those games as well. So keep an eye on that. Dodgers play Colorado, so you would think the Dodgers will keep pace with you. We'll get it all figured out. We got the Nuggets on the other side. Nick Earnshaw joins us for another edition of Nick's Nuggets next on the Sports Bash. All right, 4:30 Sports Bash Live at Urie's here in Wildwood, having a good old time. Phil's win. They rang the bell. You had a little ring of the bell.
When Schwarber hit the Schwarbomb, yeah.
It was a nice little touch. We're hanging out down here. Phillies post-game. Phil's win. You know, they had 20-plus hits on Monday and 20 hits again today. It's the only time in the history of the team the Phillies have had 20 hits twice in the same series. They've never done that before until now. There's all of a sudden the Phillies offense back. Woohoo! The pitching's outstanding all of a sudden. You got double-digit strikeouts from every starter in this series. The Phils win. It's time for Nick's Nuggets. They're brought to you by The Hub. Gear that works as hard as you do. Nick Earnshaw is back with another edition of the Nuggets right now on the Sports Bash. What do you got, Nuggets?
What's going on, Mike and PG? Hope you're having a great time at Urie's. Listen, last time we were at Urie's, PG and I were there with Durso. And I'll tell you this, Mike, I've never seen a quicker, a more clean uniform change than I saw from Durso that day. I saw your promo video today on Instagram, and you were talking about, what are you going to wear? The Eagles for the Lombardi, or are you going to wear the Phillies for the game today? They win big. We'll get to that in a second. But Durso went Phillies to the start of the show, like first 2 hours. Second 2 hours, did mid-commercial break, went in, put the Eagles gear on, got the picture with Lombardi. I mean, it was the cleanest uniform change I've ever seen.
Like
PG was there.
He went to the phone booth and came out.
Well, listen, he's a hockey guy. He's like pulling the sweater off.
I know. It was unbelievable. I never saw anything like it. I thought I'd point that out to you as Durso helped us fill in that day. It was a fantastic time. And listen,
now the question is, did Gina do the video and post it?
No, I don't think she did. Is that a bad job by Gina?
Yep. Oh, she's standing right here.
Standing
wow.
I didn't know she was standing there.
Wow.
Bad job by her. Yep.
Wow. Bad job.
That's the content you need.
I'll tell you what, 1 minute he's wearing the Phillies, the next minute he's wearing the Eagles. It was unbelievable. I've never seen a uniform change like that. That was quick, fast, during the commercial break, and got back on the air in time. It was unbelievable. Got the picture in the middle of it, too. Durso was moving that day. It was unbelievable.
The man.
It was unbelievable. All right, let's get into the Nuggets. Listen, Phillies win again today, and they sweep the Seattle Mariners. And you just mentioned getting 20 hits in 2 games in this series. They have 48 hits in 3 games. 3 games of this homestand against Seattle. 48. Insane. So is that a wake-up call? They get the Wheeler news. He goes down. He's on the IL. We don't know what it could be. It seems like it's season ending. The wake up of the bats. The pitching's been really good. The bullpen's been pretty decent. Can you trust this? Watching this Phillies team after the Wheeler news, does it feel like something's been awoken in this team? And do we trust that it will continue?
No, I can't trust it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, everything has changed all of a sudden." They're no, of course not. I mean, that would be foolish.
Why not? The Wheeler news comes out and they have 48 hits. 48 hits. They've scored how many runs in 3 games?
One of the listeners brought this up, but I think it is worth mentioning and giving that guy some credit here. The Mariners are on the back end of a long West Coast trip.
They were Williamsport, too.
East Coast trip, I should say, that has been filled with rain delays, rain outs. This could be a team that was just at the end of the line. Now, listen, I don't want to take anything away from what the Phillies offense did. They pounded this team, and they beat up on some good pitching today. Castillo is their number 1. Gilbert is their number 2. I mean, they beat up on this pitching staff up and down, but I'm not going to sit here and say, that's the Phillies offense is consistent and they are ready to make a deep run, because we know 3 weeks from now we're going to be talking about, you think that that Bryson Stott, Max Kepler, and Brandon Marsh are going to combine for like 9 hits in the game?
Yeah, I think they 48 hits. They score 11 runs today, 12 the other night, 6 last night. Great. Awesome. They bounce back after the Wheeler news. Is this team going to show up for the postseason? Is this the offense that you are going to get? Are you going to get Bryson Stott, who we'll get to in a little bit, to have big numbers? Is Trey Turner going to get 5 hits in 1 game? That is the question. We've seen this story before, but now with the Wheeler thing, and now you're going to need the offense to step up in the postseason. Definitely, without your rock or your starting rotation, they're going to have to score a run. Do we trust it to even happen in the postseason against the good teams? Now, Seattle's a really good team. They're in the wild card chase right now in the American League. However, I don't know. Do we foresee this happening again and them getting this type of hot in the postseason? That's the main question.
Listen.
Are they going to show up in Citi Field next week?
Right, exactly. Right. I think that's a good question. Are they even going to be hot next week? Are they going to be hot this weekend?
Right.
With baseball, you can't, like, the Brewers won 14 straight games. Were they hot in all of them? No, like there were some games where they didn't play great, but yet they figured out a way to win. Baseball is just such a game. Like Bryce Stott, I will say this, since in the month of August, he's hitting like over 320. So is he starting to gain some consistency in his at-bats? Is he starting to at least, have much better contact? You're starting to see Kepler. Kepler right now has the second hardest hard hit rate on the entire team behind Schwarber. So he's hitting the ball 108 off the bat, 104. I mean, Kepler's hitting the ball hard. So I can start to say, you know what? Kepler's starting to square up on the ball. He's starting to turn it around a little bit here. This is a guy who was a good hitter 6 years ago. I'm pretty surprised at what I'm seeing. Do I think Max Kepler is going to get hot, carry this team through an October run? No, but can he help them through the next 2 weeks, 4 weeks? And this whole thing between Kepler and Castellanos and Bader and Marsh, I don't think we've seen the end of that. So I don't know who's hot, who's not, who's playing, who's sitting. That answer is going to come every day at about 3:15 when the lineup comes out.
Well, that's kind of the point here. Like, do you, after watching what just transpired over the past couple of days, right, the offense getting really hot, do you feel like there's been a switch on this team because of the Wheeler news, right? And when they get into the postseason, is there a confidence now, like, okay, maybe this team is a little bit different. Maybe they saw what happened to Wheeler. They want to win it for Wheels. Hashtag win it for Wheels. I think that's got to be the hashtag, right? Is there something that flipped here with this team saying, oh, man, we got to do it with our bats? We really got to step it up. Because last year, I mean, there was nothing. It was awful. The offense was terrible in that Mets series. The bullpen wasn't much better. But now is there a confidence brewing in this clubhouse that says, yeah, maybe we can go?
No, I do think, though, that, listen, is there some confidence? Yeah, when you start to play well, you hit 20 hits 2 days in 3 days, 2 out of 3 days. I'm sure there is some confidence. Yes, it starts to get contagious a little bit, but how long does that last? You can't.
I know.
Pete, we were talking about this earlier. Pete's like, hey, a guy gets 2 hits in a game, he should play again the next day. There's no guarantee because you get 2 hits on Wednesday that you're going to get 2 hits on Thursday. So that's where this is going to get tricky for them, because right now they are changing the lineup around based on, I don't know, I guess based on the history of this guy against that particular pitcher. What I give them credit for right now, and I'm not saying Thompson per se, whoever you want to give credit for the lineup, okay, whoever is in charge of making that lineup, I give them a little bit of credit for finally saying, you know what, Castellanos, it's not a rite of passage that you're playing every single day. So today, you're going to be the guy that sits. Bader didn't play yesterday. Today, you're in the lineup. If it's a right-handed pitcher, we're going to get Marsh out there. We know that. If it's a right-handed pitcher, the other day, Kepler was not in the lineup after he had 2 hits.
Yep.
He had 2 hits on Monday and didn't play on Tuesday. So here's the thing. They're going to have to keep hitting the right buttons every single game with this thing, and at some point, you're not going to hit the right button when you're having to push buttons every day.
Yeah, and listen, it's almost like a full platoon now with the whole Castellanos situation, right? Like, it feels like a full platoon in every outfield position at this point.
But that's the thing. There's 4 guys for 3 spots. I'm not even sure it's a platoon. A platoon would just be, hey, it's a left-handed pitcher, Castellanos plays. I don't think they're ready to go there, because I think they want Castellanos to hit against some right-handed pitcher.
True.
So I don't think it's a platoon per se.
But it feels like it's trending that way. That's the thing.
I think it's more, which of these guys, Bader or Castellanos, has better numbers against the right-handed pitcher that they're facing that particular day. And that will be the guy that plays. And then against a righty, Kepler and Marsh would be possibly the other guys. So this goes back to there's a lot of puzzle pieces when you're just constantly trying to shuffle 4 guys through 3 spots.
And it's so tough to do when you don't have a guy that can play every day and be consistent every day because you're shuffling every guy every single night. It's tough to win that way. We'll see. I mean, listen, they've scored 48 runs in 3 games. Phillies are hot right now. After the Wheeler news, it's hashtag win it for Wheels if you're the Phillies at this point. So that's where you're at. All right, I want to move along, talk about one guy in particular, and that's Bryson Stott. You mentioned him and you invoked him in the last nugget. Nugget number 2. He's been really good. Now, the revelation could be a Bryson Stott hitting consistently in the 9-hole. Now, I know he's going to platoon with the Mundo every once in a while. I understand that. But over his last 30 games, he has batted .298 with a .381 on base and a .488 slug. He has been much better. If you look at his last 15 games, he has a .372 average, a .438 OBP, and a .605 slug. He has been much better. If you can get a Bryson Stott to hit consistently when he is in the lineup at the 9-hole, you all essentially have another leadoff hitter in that 9 spot. That could be huge heading into the postseason if he can turn things around at this point. Because how much have we talked about how disappointing Stott has been this year? He has been way better as of late. And when you have that glove at second base, that helps you and can save some runs too.
Hey, listen, when you get the bottom of the lineup production that you got here, you saw the result. Double-digit runs every single game of this series. So, yeah, Stott hitting in the 9-hole. I said before, there's only one spot the way he was going that he could hit, 9. It helps when the guy in the 9-hole is also producing. He was only a 9-hole hitter because he was so bad. Now you have him hit 9. It's a positive if he's going to produce the way he is, because now look at the guys. Turner, Schwarber. Schwarber just broke his record for most RBIs in a single season, and that's because he's got a guy like Stott, Kepler, Marsh. Those guys have all been on base here this week, so you're starting to see him crank some RBI. I think Stott, though, is a big key at that bottom of the lineup. The question is, he's not going to be in the lineup every day against lefties. He's probably not going to play. Now, it's interesting because they do play the Nationals this weekend, and the Nationals are going to throw Mitchell Parker, who's a lefty. The last time Parker pitched this weekend, Stott was in the lineup that day. Now, Bob Wankel had told us, Mitchell Parker, his splits against lefties were not all that good, so that he played in that game. So will Stott begin to slowly work his way back into playing against lefties? We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'd keep him in the 9-hole when he's in the lineup. He doesn't go above 9. I'd keep him there because that could be
I'm not asking to move him.
I wouldn't move him at all. That's what I'm saying.
Way.
Keep him at 9. Stay at 9. If you're Rob Thompson, stay at the number 9 spot if you're him. Because if he's hitting like that, if those are the numbers that you're going to get in the postseason, that could be massive. Massive. It could extend innings.
I guarantee you this. When they hand Rob Thompson the lineup card,
Dombrowski.
Mattingly. When they hand Thompson the lineup card before each game, there's no shot that Stott's anywhere but the 9-hole.
He has to stay there.
Thompson, who, listen, I'm not saying Thompson has zero say. I believe the collaborative effort. I don't think Thompson pushes or fights too much on the lineup. I don't think he's kicking and screaming saying, you got to move Bryson Stott.
Yeah, but I'm saying even if he continues to stay hot, you don't pull him out of the 9-hole. You keep him there.
No, I mean,
keep
look,
him there.
And they really, right now you have a bunch of guys at the bottom of the order who are all kind of producing. 6, 7, 8, all those guys. They're all, and there's no reason to, move them. You got Marsh, Kepler. Bader's been scuffling a little bit, although he had a couple hits today too.
Yeah, hey, listen, Bryson Stott, a couple hits today. He's been really good over his last 30, hitting right near the 300 mark. And listen, keep him in the 9-hole. It could bode well heading into September in October. All right, nugget number 3. We got to talk about something from last night's game that created a little fire. Not Duran. It's not Duran. We got to talk about the booth yesterday and the fan in the booth that, won the auction. And listen, paid a good amount of money. He didn't pay, actually. He said on the broadcast, someone else in his circle paid for the auction. It was over $10,000 to be in the broadcast booth. Some people feel bad for the guy. Some people criticized. I'm going to be one to criticize a little bit. And I'm not expecting a fan who, pays a lot of money for the auction, which is a great charity that the Phillies do. It's awesome stuff. However, I'd like to see a little bit more effort out of the fan in the booth. We've seen in past years guys with books, notes, ready to go in the booth. This guy kind of just showed up, started talking about his dog named Kyle. I was losing my mind, okay? He cannot be in the booth. Like, the problem was also that T-Mac was teeing him up multiple times, and there was complete dead air. I just need a better effort. If you're going to be in the booth, you know you're going in. Because this, if you look at and read the actual description of the auction, this was an agreed upon inning on an agreed upon date. You knew when you were going to be in the booth. I need a little more effort out of our guy Bill in there yesterday.
Was play-by-play specified in the
So it wasn't specified play-by-play, but however, this is what it said. The Phillies reserve the right to remove the winner if anything inappropriate happens, and the date will be mutually agreed upon, but they wanted to keep everything Phillies.
Well, how is it described? Because everybody who's done it in the past has called the play-by-play. Like T-Mac will say, here's so-and-so taking you through the third inning. And then the guy, you said, listen, the guy had like a notepad last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there was effort here before. It says, you'll join NBC Sports Philadelphia broadcaster Tom McCarthy along with either John Kruk, Ruben Amaro, or Ben Davis in the Harry Callis broadcast booth at Citizens Bank Park to call an inning of Phillies
there you go.
baseball.
To
Boom.
call the inning.
To call the inning. Yeah. That is the key word.
I was out to dinner last night, and you guys blew my phone up and ruined my dinner. I was like, dude, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Your dinner was ruined. Your dinner was ruined, and the inning kept going. The only positive was that the Phillies kept scoring during his inning. That was what was great. It was in the third.
No, that was the negative, because I went home and watched it. I said, this poor guy has to keep going because this inning's never ending. Now, your boy Josh said he threw his phone because of people like you.
I know. I already addressed this with Josh. I texted him. I'd heard the segment a little late today, and I heard, Josh, what are you defending him? Listen, I just need a little more effort out of the fan.
Listen. I don't care about the effort. He paid $10,000 to do that. He could. I said if he wants to stay silent the whole time.
Well,
however,
he didn't pay the $10,000, and that was according to him last night.
Okay, well, whoever paid it, and he was the person who represented that person. That being said, I can't imagine that the Phillies were too thrilled with what happened there last night.
You mean awkward dead air in the booth?
Well, like
plays going on.
He's talking about his fantasy team.
Oh, that okay.
Yeah, he asked T-Mac if he was surprised that the Mariners' right fielder wasn't in the lineup today. And the guy at T-Mac's, I'm not really sure. You know, like it was. I don't get why he elected to do it.
Yeah, I don't know why you picked that one. They had other things you could have done. Like if you know you're going to call an inning, come prepared with a little bit more.
I thought that's one that you specifically
bid on that one.
Bid on that one. Like you got to know that I want to bid on being the guy that calls the third inning. You don't say I'm going to put $10,000 up there because I want to walk the bases, and they say, "Hey, by the way, you're the guy calling the inning this week." You're like, "What?" No, you have to want to call the inning.
That's my point. Like it just seemed like I'm just going to show up and sit in the booth when T-Mac deliberately multiple times queued him up. All right, let's call some plays right now. Let's call the game a little bit, essentially. You got to know what you're walking into. That's all I'm asking is a little bit of effort. I know, spent a great deal of money for charity. It's awesome. But if you're selecting which thing you're going to do in the charity auction, like run the bases, do this, wiffle ball, whatever it may be, if you're picking to call a Philadelphia Phillies inning, I need a little bit better showing.
This goes back to my original argument, guys, which is he didn't bid on this. This was not his decision. He did not say, I want to do this. Someone else bid on it and then sent him up there to do it.
Then how do you get up there? How are you the guy that up there? You know what you're walking into. You know you're going to be on television. I don't know. Listen, I'm not expecting the guy to be a professional, but
I think you are expecting to be a professional.
Not one bit.
Problem.
How is that one bit?
I think you're projecting what you would do if you had the opportunity.
No, I'm projecting what has happened in the past. What has happened in the past?
I agree. I agree the fact that I've watched that inning in the past, and I've never left there saying, this guy was really bad. Like every guy, you're like, hey, that guy really gave a good effort. he actually, like, I figure most of the guys who win it are guys who would like to be, or like at minor league or something. And Josh, you're saying this guy didn't want to do it. Well, then don't go up there.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Or maybe the person who bid on it shouldn't have given it to him. How about that?
I agree.
I
agree.
He should have said, I appreciate your effort. I do not want to give it to someone else who will appreciate this more.
Dude, the whole job was to call an inning. There was no call. There was no call last night, unfortunately. But hey, good on him. 10 grand to the charities. Awesome. I just need a little bit more effort if you know you're going to call an inning. That's all. That's all.
I don't even know about the effort. I just need a guy who wants to be there.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like he wanted to kind of be there, but he didn't want to be on the air, and that was the whole point.
Right. He wanted the seat from the booth.
You can't have both there, buddy.
I felt like he felt like I'm supposed to just watch the game.
Sorry, Bill.
I'm not actually supposed to be
That's
a
not how
part
it
of
works,
the broadcast.
Yes, and the thing says, it says right on there, to call an inning, not to watch an inning with the broadcast team, to call an inning. That's the key
Now,
word.
last
That's
night,
the most
Nuggets,
important
you
part.
saw that crowd when Duran came in the game. If I deducted you $15, would you be mad?
I'd be a little mad. I'd be a little mad because
No
now I
way.
can't get lunch today.
No way you
Why
wouldn't
can't
be
you
mad.
just make merch for the guy and make money that way? Why do we have to add it to the ticket? Just make the Durantula merch. Have a good time with that. We don't need to price gouge the tickets. They're already price gouged enough.
30 seconds.
Did you see that place last night?
It was awesome. It was not really because they didn't show it
Not
on TV.
right? That's another problem with the broadcast last
Well,
night.
the next thing you know is they'll have a sponsor when he walks in.
There you go. They probably will. They probably will.
Get
All
on
right,
it, Coca-Cola.
There's the Nuggets. They're brought to you
Toyota.
by The Hub, gear that works as hard as you do. When we come back, Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City was at Citizens Bank Park today. The mood around the Phillies. That's next. All right, 5 o'clock here. The Sports Bash is brought to you by the White Horse RV Center in Williamstown and Galloway. Your adventure starts at White Horse RV, Williamstown and Galloway. Don't miss out on the Red Tag Clearance event going on now. White Horse RV. We're live at the Sliders Bar at Urie's in Wildwood. One final hour. Phil's win. They do it again. Double-digit runs against the Mariners. Let me ask everybody out there, 609-403-0973. This series do anything for you? You beat up on a good Mariners team that's going to the playoffs. There's a lot of questions about this Phillies offense. Do you look at this Phillies offense and say, you know what? They're starting to come around. Are they great? No. Are they inconsistent? Yes. But at their best, can they win the World Series? Of course they can. But this team do anything for you by beating up on the Mariners. Now, the funny part is, we'll be here at this time next week, and we'll probably say, what happened to the offense that scored double-digit runs against the Mariners all week long, right? That's usually how baseball works. 11-2 today, the Phils win. Another good pitching performance by Luzardo. He had 12 strikeouts, 6 hits, 3 hits, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 12 strikeouts. I mean, you could have made the argument that they could have sent him back out there for the 7th. They brought in Robertson, who gave up a home run to make it 3-2. And then Robertson turned over to Banks. They got out of the inning. Alvarado came in, and then it was Ross to finish things up. But as Mike McGarry, who was at Citizens Bank Park today, will chronicle, Mike, an offensive explosion 3 nights in a row. Twice in this series, they had over 20 hits in the game. 20 today, 21 the other night. They have 40-plus hits in the 2 games. They scored double-digit runs in all 3 nights, and the pitchers had double-digit strikeouts in all 3 games. This is a good Mariners team they played. They weren't beating up on the Rockies here. This is the Mariners. Have the Phillies turned the corner?
Well, I don't know if they've turned the corner, but they might want to bottle what they have done here against the Mariners and put it in a bottle and save it for October, because you can't really play any better than the Phillies just played in these 3 games. It's not only the top of the order, Trey Turner with 5 hits today, Kyle Schwarber with 5 RBIs. It's also the bottom of the order. Bryson Stott is now hot. Max Kepler with a home run today. And again, Mike, I can't say how impressed I am by the starting pitching. The pitching gets some tough news with the Zach Wheeler diagnosis on Saturday, and Ranger Suarez and Cristopher Sánchez and today Jesus Luzardo just come out and maybe pitch their 3 best games of the season and show that this starting rotation can still be a dominant strength for the Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, last night, obviously, Cristopher Sánchez, he looks like your number 1 right now. Who's your number 2? I mean, that obviously, I think it's going to be kind of between, we saw Suarez, Ranger last night. We saw Luzardo tonight. We'll see Nola again coming up here. Taijuan Walker, I don't know if he's in your conversation for number 2. But now that Sanchez has bumped up, is this like an open competition for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think it might go on a week-to-week basis or a day-to-day basis, because I don't know how. Yeah, I agree with you. Cristopher Sánchez obviously is the number 1 guy, and then you look at Ranger and Jesus Luzardo. They've been, they've kind of had their ups and downs a little bit, and it might come down to who is pitching the best in that situation. Don't forget Aaron Nola. I know he was bad on Sunday, but if he can healthy and come back, and Taijuan Walker, you hate to say it, if you want to break the lefties up, I mean, Sanchez, Suarez, and Luzardo, all lefties. I don't know if you want to pitch lefties back to back. If you want to break them up and throw a righty in there, you're going to have to throw either Nola or Taijuan Walker in between them. So it is an interesting situation, but I think what's most important is, Zach Wheeler is out. There's no timetable for his return. Let's just say he can't pitch the rest of the season. Well, this starting rotation against a very good Seattle Mariners team went out there these 3 games and showed that, yes, they can still be the strength of this team. They can still lead this team, and that's great news for the Phillies for October.
Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com. Mike, I heard you with Bryce Harper last night, and, just the mood of this team after the Wheeler news. I mean, and how that Wheeler news kind of affected this team or maybe gave them a lift or something.
Yeah, I mean, everybody to a man, and again, it came up today. Clubhouse. We just got back upstairs from the clubhouse after today's game. First things they all do, as we all do, they express concern for Zach, as you know, as a husband, as a father, as a son. I mean, as Rob Thompson said, this is not a hamstring. This is not a knee injury. Blood clots are scary things, right? So I think they're all happy that Zach is, feeling better and resting at home and everything else. So, but I think it's just another statement about how resilient this team is. I mean, since 2022, really, this team has shown an ability to play without its stars. And I don't want to say not miss a beat, but kind of survive those absences and go forward. They've done it with Trey Turner out of the lineup. They've done it a couple times with Bryce Harper out of the lineup. They've done it with Schwarber out of the lineup at times. This is a team that somehow has the ability to survive the absence of its stars and keep going forward. And I think it's one of their greatest strengths. And, the starting rotation showed it again these 3 games against Seattle.
Well, and you just brought up something about the stars, but today, Bader, couple hits, Kepler, couple hits, including a home run, a double in there. Stott, he's been hitting over 300. You got the bottom half of that lineup. But then last night, it's a 4-4 game, bottom of the 8th. You get a JT Realmuto 2-run homer. He's been on fire. You wrote about him over at PressOfAtlanticCity.com. Now he's putting a tougher decision on the offseason. He's a free agent at the end of the year. But you're getting stuff from guys that weren't giving you much at all earlier in the year.
Yeah, and that just makes this lineup so formidable, especially today. I think the bottom 3 guys, Bader, Kepler, and Stott, I think they were 8 for 14. Kepler home run. I think they had 3-4 runs, scored 4 RBIs. When 7, 8, 9 is hitting like that, and I really think what you're seeing here, Mike, is you're seeing a guy like Bryson Stott, who, hey, the way he hit in April, May, June, and most of July, we had questions. Is Bryson Stott an everyday second baseman? Is he just a platoon player? What's his future with the Phillies? What happened with him in the offseason? I think he's showing now the kind of Bryson that we envisioned, the hitter and player that we kind of envisioned him being and kind of developing. JT Realmuto, another guy, right? We've spent all summer seemingly debating, Kyle Schwarber. What's it going to cost to bring back Kyle Schwarber? Well, right now, JT hitting the ball well. What's it going to cost to bring back JT, and how long would they offer him a contract for? And are we going to have a little deja vu back to 2020 when, Bryce Harper went around, telling everybody he meant to sign JT, basically, So it's really interesting to see. Look, everything's clicking right now. The bad thing for the Phillies is August 19th or August 20th, whatever it is. It's going to go for October, but everything is clicking right now.
Let me get into that because everything's clicking right now. But how hard is it, ahead of them navigating? Give me your thoughts on what is going on with this outfield today. Thompson talked about it a little bit. He didn't commit to anything. He said, I got 4 guys. I'm kind of moving them all around. If 3 guys are hot, they're going to play. Castellanos did not play today. I think, to the surprise to some, but to I think people are happy about the fact that maybe they're finally saying, look, it's not a rite of passage for you to play every day if you're not producing, but it's hard to push the right buttons all the time when it's not a straight platoon. This is more like, all right, Bader, you're going to play today. Okay, Castellanos, you're going to play with Kepler and Marsh. I mean, how are they navigating this outfield situation in your mind?
Yeah, it's interesting. Rob Thompson said before the game that he considers the 4 guys, Bader, Marsh, Castellanos, Kepler, to be everyday players. But obviously you only have 3 outfield spots and you have 4 guys, right? So it's 4 guys for 3 spots. And he said he's going to kind of mix and match and look to get guys at bats and keep guys fresh and try to get them all in there. But you're right, Mike. It's August 18th, August 19th. It's a meritocracy, and that's what it's become. If you want to play, if Nick Castellanos wants to be in the lineup, next time he's in, go get 3 hits. I mean, Max Kepler today got a chance to play. He hit a home run, had a couple of hits, takes advantage of it. Harrison Bader had a hit. Brandon Marsh continues to hit. Look, it's a meritocracy out there in the outfield. It looks like nothing's guaranteed. And if you want to be in the lineup every day, get hot and hit. And basically that's the way it should should be. And I think the way Rob Thompson is handling this is exactly correct. Although you're exactly right. It's hard to sort of, you're looking to pull a winning card every day by filling out the lineup. But again, if Kepler wants to play every day, go hit. If Castellanos wants to play every day, go hit. If Bader wants to play every day, go hit. Play good defense. 4 guys for 3 spots. Put the best 3 out there every day, and guys kind of have to prove it every day. And you saw today, it's hard to argue with what Rob Thompson has done. And in fact, I think it's hard to argue with what he's done with this outfield over the last couple of games, because it seems every time he puts a guy in there, be it Castellanos, be it Kepler, be it Bader, they perform well. So maybe Rob Thompson has, the secret sauce, who knows? But I like it. It's a meritocracy, and, it's 4 guys for 3 spots. And if you want to be one of the 3 guys, go hit every day. You'll be in the lineup.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be hard to tell Max Kepler after the way he's gone, hey, by the way, the next time there's a right-handed pitcher, you're not in right field, because obviously – he's starting to produce a little bit here. Bader's been a guy who hasn't produced much, but he started to hit. He had a couple hits today. I find it fascinating how they're going to navigate this because, Mike, how does a guy like Nick Castellanos handle all this?
Yeah, well, today, I told a couple of reporters, friends of mine, that, he understood kind of that Rob Thompson wanted to get some Bader at bats. And so Nick said, I'm here. I'm, whatever you need, I'm fine with. But again, he's fine with being out of the lineup today. If you're out of the lineup 3-4 days in a row, could be a different matter. But, Mike, this team is built to win right now. It's professional baseball, Major League Baseball, when it's not about feelings. Again, it's a meritocracy. There are 4 guys for 3 spots out there. And, again, if you want to be out there, you're going to get an opportunity hit, and you'll be out there again. And probably that's the way it should be right now.
So what are they essentially in your mind doing? Gut feeling, or just going off of, hey, this guy's faced this pitcher, his numbers are this, you're going to be the guy that plays? I mean, is that how they're kind of doing this right now?
I think it's a little of both. I don't think it's going to be a straight platoon. I don't think you're going to see Max Kepler play against every right-handed hitter and Nick Castellanos only play against left-handed hitters. But I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be a little bit of a mix and match. A guy's got good numbers against a certain pitcher. There's a tough lefty, a very tough lefty that, I know he's hurt, but let's say Chris Sale's out there pitching. Okay, you probably don't want to throw Brandon Marsh and Kepler out there against a lefty like that. So I think it's part feel, part, statistics, and part trying to keep guys fresh. And you don't want to lose any of the 4. So you don't want one guy to go, 4 or 5 days in a row without playing. So I don't think it's a strict platoon, but I do think it's more of a feel thing. Who's hot, who's hitting well, maybe somebody's on a hot streak. I think it's more of a feel thing combined with the numbers. I don't think it's a straight sort of platoon situation at this point.
Because realistically, Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com, at Citizens Bank Park, realistically, you can make a strong argument that Castellanos is the weakest of the group. He's the weakest defensive player. And if you're just going off of on-base percentage, his on-base percentage is the worst out of everybody of that group there. So you can make the argument that if I'm pitching, I don't want him playing right field. And offensively, he's the weakest guy of the group. So this will continue to get interesting as this thing goes on. And today we saw opportunities where they could have pinch hit left-handers against left-handed pitching, Mike, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, and Rob Thompson was asked about that after the game, and he said the fact that the Phillies had the lead when that opportunity came up, and they had the better defensive players in the game. So obviously Max Kepler was in the game with a lead. At the time it was 3-2 lead, I believe, in that 7th inning before they broke the game open. So they wanted their better defenders out there. That's why they didn't go to the right-handers and have them pinch hit against the lefty relievers. Rob Thompson had said if they were trailing in the game, a different story. But with a lead, especially a 1-run lead, where you want your better defenders out there, there's no doubt, Mike, that their best defensive outfield is Brandon Marsh in left, Harrison Bader in center, and Max Kepler in right. That's the best defensive lineup. And look, and with a 3-2 lead in the 7th inning, that's what Rob Thompson is thinking.
So let's talk about the 7th inning, because this, Mike, to me is going to be interesting the rest of the way here. Phillies pitchers get to that 7th inning. It seems that every night there's a decision to make. 12 strikeouts, 3 hits, cruising along, 89 pitches. They take him out of the game, Lazaro. They go to Robertson. Robertson gives up a home run. But this seventh inning or this whatever inning it's sixth or seventh, when these guys get to this 89, 90-ish area, it seems like much like the outfield decisions, Thompson and this pitching, Caleb Cotham, they're going to have to figure out and get a feel on, is it the sixth inning? Is it the seventh inning? But do you feel that that's going to be a storyline down the stretch?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a storyline. Look, in the regular season, Mike, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with them getting a guy, in the low 90s, 6 1/3. You got 92, 93 pitches, 89 pitches. In the regular season, I don't have a problem with them going to get the starter at that point. I recognize that it might cost you a game down the road. Most of the time it's not. I don't have an issue with it because I think you've got to keep these starters fresh for the postseason, basically. And I think whether they'll admit it or not, they're probably a little spooked by what happened to Zach Wheeler because his troubles seemed to start after he threw that complete game one hitter against the Cincinnati Reds. So I don't have any issues with them pulling a guy, 6 1/3 innings, 89, 93 pitches, no issues at all. But I think when you do that, one of the questions you're going to have to answer is the bridge to Duran, right? There's no doubt that having Duran at the closer in the back end has shortened the game for them. But who's going to get, before Duran gets those final 3 outs in the 9th inning, who's going to get those 3 outs in the 8th inning, those 3 outs in the 7th inning, or that 1 out in the 6th inning that you're going to need, the sort of bridge to Duran? I still think they're kind of feeling their way there a little bit. But Kirkring and Strom have been good. David Robertson gives up the home run today, but he did pitch last night, pitched very well last night, and this was his first true back-to-back since signing with the Phillies. So, he hangs a slider and gives up a home run, but overall it still gets out of it with the lead. But I don't have an issue, Mike, with them pulling these starters, 89, 90 pitches, 6 1/3. I think in the playoffs, however, that's when you're going to push these guys and look to narrow that gap from the starter to Duran.
Yeah, and the Alvarado addition here has really, been interesting as well, because now you got him in the 8th inning, or you were thinking big spots. He did get a nice applause by the crowd today, which he did enter the game here. But how they incorporate him into this mix as well, that's going to be another interesting thing, because Tanner Banks came into a big spot today that I don't know, were you thinking that Alvarado would have been in that spot as opposed to Banks normally?
No, I thought when they were going to get Alvarado up for that 8th inning, and at the time that he got up, I think it was still a 1-run or 2-run game. Now it ended up being that low leverage situation that they had talked about him pitching in first. Because of the way the offense blew the game open in the 7th inning there. I thought Alvarado pitched great. Afterwards, we talked to him. He said he was very appreciative of the cheers that he heard from the crowd. He hit 99 on the gun. He looked like the Jose Alvarado strikeout 1, 2, 3 inning. Looked like the Jose Alvarado that we saw in May. The only thing that I think of, Mike, and this is, if you had that guy in the postseason with this bullpen, and you had him, Duran, Strom, Kirby, every time he's out there, I'm like, boy, how much better is that bullpen in October if Alvarado was not suspended for the postseason? So that's something that they might be kicking themselves about in October. But that's another reason to kind of rest those starters, because you added another big arm to the back end back there in Alvarado.
Well, Mike, a sweep, and there was a dominant sweep against a good team in the Mariners, although the Mariners, to be fair to them, they've been on the road, it seems like forever. They had a
they've been on the
East Coast road trip here that it looked like today they were ready to go. Although they showed a little fight, they got back in the game 3-2, but the Phils busted open. They win 11-2. We'll see what the Metropolitans do tonight. They are playing Washington. Also, need to keep an eye on the Brouhahas. They're playing the Cubbies, and then, of course, the Dodgers, because now, Mike, all these games matter. You got to get that bye. You're 1 game up on the Dodgers, and that race for the number 2 spot right now, and now first place with the Brewers. I think they're 5.5 behind the Brewers. But that Phillies-Dodgers down the stretch here, who's going to be number 2 potentially, that's very important.
Yeah, and Mike, I think this was obviously a key. I was just joking with some reporters, like, you'd hate to be a Seattle Mariner right now. You lost 2 of 3 to the Mets. You lose 3 here in Philadelphia. Now you get on a plane and fly back to Seattle for 7 hours when you've been on the road since it, like you said, since it seems like early June, basically. This sweep was big for the Phillies, Mike, because I think it sort of takes the pressure off the Mets series. If the Phillies take care of business against the Washington Nationals and they go into Citi Field for that 3-game series, and then the Mets come here for 4 games early in September. If they go into Citi Field next Monday, up 5 games, up 5.5 games, then basically all you got to do is go up to Citi Field and just win 1 game. And then if you split the 4-game series here with the Mets, you're in very good shape as far as the division goes. But you want to keep the pedal to the metal as far as getting that bye, because it allows you to set up your pitching and have fresher pitching. And also, you want to win 2 less games to get to a World Series. And I think the Phillies are a team to win a World Series. I don't think they can come out of the wild card round. I think they've got to get that bye and set up their starting pitching.
All right, Mike. Well, another series in the books, and of course, the Phillies getting ready to take on the Washington Nationals. You mentioned the Mets. They do play the Mets 7 more times. They have a series against the Brewers coming up for 3 games in September. They also have 3 games against the Dodgers. They have 1 more West Coast trip to play. So 7 against the Mets, 3 against the Brewers, 3 against the Dodgers. A lot of these things might be decided on the field. Fun season down the stretch they come. And, of course, we'll talk more about it on Friday as they get ready to take on, off day tomorrow, they'll take on the Washington Nationals. And it's Taijuan Walker. Who thought he would factor into this season? But he's got to start on Friday night, and Aaron Nola on Saturday. So a big series for those 2 pitchers as well. Mike, we'll talk to you Friday, man.
Right, and Mike, you're exactly right. Taijuan Walker is a key member of the rotation. Max Kepler's hitting home runs. What would we do if Jordan Romano ever started getting people out? I don't know what we would do. All right, we'll see you down the road, Mike.
See you, man. Mike McGarry, everybody. Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com on the Sports Pass Live, 97.3. Yeah, it seems that everybody's whipping boys have turned it around, right?
Max
All the
Kepler,
whipping boys.
Trey
Max
Turner.
Kepler. Trey Turner, that's a good pull
one,
by
yeah.
you. Turner's been the whipping boy at times. Kepler was the whipping boy big time. Taijuan Walker. I remember sitting here about 2 months ago saying I never need to see Taijuan Walker start another game ever.
You're going to see him on this weekend, I'll tell you that.
I remember saying, well, that was the game that they pulled him in like the 5th inning because he was at a certain amount of pitches. And I said, I don't care how many pitches Taijuan Walker throws. Well, now he's in the middle of a pennant race, pitching for you Friday night against the Nats. All right, we're live at Urie's. Place is filling up, I'll tell you that.
It really is.
The buzz in the air with the Phils.
Vibes
You know,
are high,
when the
man.
baseball team wins in the summer, it's just something different. As we transition over to football season soon, we're not quite ready to give up our baseball season. Not yet. And the Phillies are saying, don't forget about us as they sweep the Mariners. We have more Sports Bash coming up live. This hour is brought to you by the White Horse RV Center in Williamstown and Galloway. Don't miss out on the Red Tag Clearance event going on now at White Horse RV. Your RV adventure starts at White Horse RV in Williamstown. In Galloway, stop out, I should say, at Urie's for dinner tonight. Look at those tacos up there on the Sliders Bar menu. Oh, man, great spot. And the Lombardi Trophy is still sitting out there. It needs someone with an Eagles jersey to get their picture taken with it. Stop out and see us live at Urie's at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood on 97.3 ESPN. All right, 5:30 Sports Bash live at Urie's in Wildwood. If you haven't been out this summer, you got to get here before the summer ends. Great spot, the Sliders Bar, to watch the Phillies action. They win 11-2 today. They sweep the Mariners. And by the way, Mets play tonight. When the Mets play tonight, they will be sitting 6 games behind the Phils in the National League East. Brewers, by the way, they play tonight as well. When the Brewers start play tonight, they are 5.5 games up on the Phils. Phils a game and a half up on the Dodgers for that number 2 seed in the National League. I'm Mike Gill. This is the Sports Bash. Peachy, my on-site producer, he's got some Pete's Pizza today, a couple slices,
I got a couple
that we're
slices
going
of
to
pie
dive
for you.
into in our 5:30 segment here.
All right, I'm not sure if you saw this, but Trey Turner's 1,500th hit happened on Monday.
Did see this.
But MLB changed it today.
That was the home run.
That was the home run, so it was a big deal. But MLB awarded him an infield hit from Sunday that was previously ruled an error. So his 1,500th hit was indeed an infield single.
Yeah, was that one where the pitcher kind of couldn't corral it in?
Yeah. Now, are you finding yourself having problems with the official scores nowadays? Do
Horrible.
you care? Okay, so you do have a thought on this.
They're horrible.
Horrible, right?
Yeah, they're absolutely there's no errors anymore.
No errors.
The poor pitchers' ERAs are taking a crap because these guys never give an error to anything. Yeah, the official scores should be ashamed of themselves.
Anything else on that?
I mean, seriously, I can't believe some of the things that they're calling hits.
Do we need an automated scoring system?
Yeah, exactly. We need a new official scorer, a robot.
Yes.
To make the decision for. Yeah, apparently they got the ball.
Oh, they did.
I think they thought there was a possibility
Mm-hmm.
that they could change the call, so they did get that ball from the game over the weekend, and they had the ball from the home run that was hit the other night. Apparently they got the ball pretty easily on the home run, but they did get that ball from the game from the other day.
Well, I'm glad that Zach Hampel did not wind up with that ball.
Who's that?
You know, the guy who steals all the home run balls?
Oh, yeah.
That
I
guy?
haven't heard that guy's name in a while.
Oh, he's still out there.
Is he?
Yes.
Whatever happened to the Marlins man? Remember we saw him?
Oh, yeah, he's still out there. Yeah.
He's always at the Super Bowl, at the
Mhm.
Radio Row.
Mm-hmm.
Down
But
there.
Turner does have a 10-game hit streak.
Turner, by the way, for those of you, including myself, who ripped this guy, and listen, I still think Turner has not, been what you really, really thought he was going to be, but 5 for 6 today. 301 batting average, 356 on base percentage. I don't know what we thought Turner would be. The first year and a half or 2 years of him, certainly didn't think he was going to be that guy. The guy you're getting right now
is $300 million.
I still don't think he's a $300 million guy. He's been very good recently.
Yes. We'll switch over to some football here. This at a Titans training camp. Did you see this? Cam Ward, the rookie quarterback, number 1 overall pick by the Titans, got into a fight, a little scuffle with his defense the other day.
I did see. I didn't read this whole thing, but I did see something that he got in a fight with. Was it Justin Simmons?
Yeah, defensive lineman Jeffrey Simmons.
Jeffrey Simmons.
Now, are you kind of excited, not excited, but interested in the Titans here with what Cam Ward can do this season?
I know Josh is more on the Titans than I am. He's more on the Titans than I've been. I didn't love this quarterback class. It wasn't a big, oh, my God, this Cam Ward's going to be, resurrect this organization. So, they're going to have to do a lot of selling on me. But that division's wide open. You got Daniel Jones starting for the Indianapolis Colts in that division. You've got, the Jaguars, who aren't all that great.
The Jags are a mess.
Yeah. So I guess Ward can at least make them interesting, but he's going to have to sell me. I'm not entering the year sold on them.
It's still
This is
Houston's
coming
division.
from this is coming from the same guy who was sold on the Falcons for 2 years, and now you're finally selling on them.
Yeah. Well, the Falcons, the 1 year, the one year because the division was so mediocre, and they were mediocre with no quarterback play. When they got Kirk Cousins, I figured just getting a competent quarterback should have helped them out. Well, the problem was Cousins was not competent enough
Well,
to really play.
I will interject really quick because I just finished watching that Netflix quarterback show. There actually is an explicit reason why the Falcons season went sideways that's documented in the show that apparently nobody knew about outside of the Falcons organization. And, maybe, shall I say, if Kirk Cousins would have handled his business a little differently, Mike Gill's preseason prediction would have gone differently.
Yeah, what did he do?
Can I spoil it for you as you're letting me?
I'm not watching that show.
Go for it.
Wow, you guys are lame. That show is great.
Everybody I've talked to said this show's been very boring.
Well, they're boring then because
Kirk Cousins himself is boring, right? I mean,
yeah.
See the people who think that show is boring. They don't like the nuance of the interpersonal relationships and the layers that go into these people's lives because that's what it shows. The show shows that, for example, Kirk Cousins, he sustained an injury at one point last year, and he wouldn't tell anyone. He sustained a serious shoulder stinger that was shooting pain down to his elbow, and he admits on the show, he said, I didn't want to tell anybody. I thought I could gut my way through it. And then he said, once I started gutting my way through it, it's like, how do I tell people now that I'm basically damaged goods after I'm coming off this Achilles injury? And, in the show, his wife is crying about the whole thing. She's like, I don't know what's going on with him. And, it was a mess.
All right, well, that's a reason why you wouldn't be as good.
But, I mean, if Kirk Cousins maybe would have gone to the team and said, hey, guys, I basically got a sharp pain right from my shoulder to my fingers on my throwing arm.
No.
Maybe you should put Penix in. Maybe would have saved their season.
What platform's that on?
Netflix.
Oh, you're back on Netflix.
I just got Netflix again this weekend. I actually tried explaining this to him the other day, and he completely whistled and waved me. So,
why were you off on Netflix?
Well, because I couldn't afford it for a while. Now we're diving into information that's unnecessary for the conversation. But yes, I'm back on Netflix, and the quarterback show I have really enjoyed.
Now I'm surprised you went quarterback show above Any Given Saturday.
Well, my thing is that Any Given Saturday's next.
Yeah, but I figured, knowing you, more college football guy, that you would have gone Any Given Saturday first, because I went Any Given Saturday ahead of quarterback.
Any Given Saturday's next on the queue, followed by the WWE documentary. That's the lineup right now.
That Gil watched that. I know that.
The
Unreal.
Yeah, I already saw that. Now, the Any Given Saturday, I watched the first 4 episodes on my flight home.
I'm starting that tonight.
It's really, really good. I mean, I wouldn't say it's great, but it's really good. I mean, it takes you into, each week. They kind of focus, each episode focuses in on, a Saturday in the SEC between, 2 schools. So, Vanderbilt against Alabama. They focus in on that week.
I like that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. So, I got through 4 episodes. I have 3 more left to go.
Okay. So, it's a 7, 8 episode?
I think it's 7.
Okay. Because the quarterback show, I believe, was 6.
I tried to watch the wide receiver show, the first one, and I just couldn't get into it.
I got to tell you, I didn't like the wide receiver show. I thought the wide receiver show was – because you know what the problem is? The wide receivers are already divas. You know what I mean? It's the idea that it's these receivers are already guys that, we all know they want attention, Whereas the quarterback, you're taking guys, 3 people in Goff, Cousins, and Burrow who are, extremely different human beings. I didn't realize Jared Goff cursed as much as he does. That guy got F-bombs flying out the wazoo. Joe Burrow's the only single guy on the show. So you're in the contrast between the single guy and the non-single guys.
Yeah, somebody said that Goff's wife was the star of the show.
That person probably just thinks she's hot.
I have a feeling that that's probably par for the course for all the NFL quarterbacks.
For those who don't know, Jared Goff's wife is a very published swimsuit model. To the point where there's actually a joke in the show that Goff has one of his wife's pictures or the poster on his office in his office, and there's one point a joke about it, the receiver, what's his name, Amon-Ra St. Brown kind of pokes fun of him about it. It's like, bro, you got a picture of your wife in your office? He's like, yeah, why not?
So that's good. So Netflix is pumping out content that made you get back into it.
Yes, that was a big deal for me. And now with this ESPN DTC, as I was telling you, because Mike, you weren't here last time they were at Urie's, but I was talking with Durso and Pete and Nick that I'm not renewing my YouTube TV because I got to be able to afford this ESPN DTC. So I'm making choices over here.
So why don't you just keep the YouTube TV? It already has ESPN.
Because ESPN's got all the other stuff coming to it now.
Okay.
You know, Red Zone, WWE.
I mean, if I really sat down and thought to myself, do I need YouTube TV? Meaning, like, I don't really watch anything other than
sports.
But here's the problem. I need the NBC Sports Philadelphia.
That's the only way to get it.
It's the only thing that has me having YouTube, because I got rid of cable, and I went to YouTube TV because it was supposed to be a cheaper option, which it is cheaper than cable per se.
Correct.
But the reason I left cable and went to YouTube TV is I selected YouTube TV because it has NBC Sports Philadelphia. Without that, I probably don't need like YouTube TV is just a streaming cable package.
Right. Like, for example, I get my NBC right now, my NBC Sports Philadelphia through my Peacock because I pay the extra bundle with that. It's like, I think it's like $24, $25 a month extra.
So that's how you watch the Phillies games and the Sixers games and all that.
Or I'm sitting here at the station doing work.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have Peacock. I don't think I've ever had Peacock. I don't know that I've ever seen the interface for Peacock.
The interface is, well, for the Phillies games, the interface is similar to what you saw on Roku on Sunday.
Yeah.
You basically choose a channel and it goes there.
So Peacock's getting some Major League Baseball games next year.
That's the reporting is that they're going to get
Well, they got-
Sunday night and they're going to get the Friday games from Apple TV because Apple TV's getting out of the baseball world.
And don't forget, Peacock is now going to exclusively have certain NBA games next year, too.
Yeah, they're going to do like a doubleheader where there's like an Eastern game and a Western game.
Yep.
And they're changing the times of the games. They're going to be 8 and 11 now.
I can't stay up for that, man.
You're
They're gonna lose the entire East Coast with those 11
know
p.m.
it.
starts.
They know it.
They know it.
They know it.
And they're just they're doing it. They don't care.
Well, it's going to be in a streaming service. So what they're trying to do is move it to 11 so that some of the European countries can watch it.
Well, God, I don't really care about the European countries. I mean, as a viewer, you know.
By the way, I think the Phillies have an Apple TV game coming up.
I think so. You're right.
Yeah,
Let me pull it.
Friday the 29th against Atlanta. They play on Apple TV.
I think that was the only Roku game on the schedule.
Yes.
That Roku game starts at 11:30 in the morning. That's awful.
You're not a fan of that.
No. Why would you start a game at 11:30 in the morning? What is the point of that?
Well, it's supposed to be like it's an exclusive window that they start before all the other games start.
Correct.
So if you're a baseball fan and you're just jonesing for baseball, that you would put on Roku at 11:35.
You could cook your omelet and watch the Phillies Nationals game.
I don't mind it so much. No, my problem was Sunday I was working, so my whole drive home, I'm watching the which was kind of cool that I had the Phillies on my drive home. But it's like the London game. Do you not like the London games? 9:30.
No, that's cool because it's kind of a different kind of thing.
Yeah,
for
see,
me.
baseball's different. You're not going to watch the Indians or the Guardians play the Royals.
No.
Yeah.
But
By the way, upcoming games that are not going to be on the local includes the TBS game on Tuesday, August 26th versus the Mets. Mike Gill mentioned the Apple TV Friday, August 29th. And there's currently September 11th, the Mets versus the Phillies will be on Fox.
A lot of Mets games coming up.
Also, ESPN
7.
Sunday Night Baseball, which will be heard here on 97.3 ESPN on August 31st.
Got another slice?
I mean, we could do. I have a Schwarber one here. He had his 45th home run here of the season. He's got 19 games left. Howard has the 58 mark in 2006, I believe it was. I mean,
There's more than 19 games left. You got a whole month of September. You got like 35 games.
Does he have a shot?
Does he have 19 games left
I
in 35?
I got to double check.
It's not 19, I can tell you that.
No, it's more than that. But
that lady smells pretty pleasant, by the way.
do you give him a good fighter's chance?
Yeah, absolutely. He needs 13 homers.
There's 35 games left.
35.
I was just going to say, he needs 13 homers and 35 games. I give him a fighting chance. And if he gets there, that means this team he carried this team to something pretty cool.
Maybe a number 1 seed.
Are you giving up on the number 1 seed? Have you ruled that out?
I think so. I mean,
they're 5.5 games behind the Brewers right now.
They do have a 4-game set, I think, with the Brewers coming up in September.
It's a
4-gamer.
It's either a 3 or 4.
So it's their form if they want it, but I don't know.
Talk about scorching hot, by the way. The Brewers had won 14 in a row. Now they've lost 2 straight.
Yeah.
Baseball, man. Baseball. Crazy. All right, we're live at Urie's here in Wildwood. The seafood extraordinary, the value tremendous, the sunsets on the house. Urie's Waterfront Restaurant and the Boathouse Restaurant at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood. Experience the best of the Jersey Shore at Urie's and the Boathouse. We will wrap up today's show, a Phil's win. All that and more coming up next on the Sports Bash. Oh, look at that. Guy's getting his picture taken. There's no one there to take it. Unfortunate. Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN. All right, get ready to get out of here. We're at Urie's. Boy, this is our last day at Urie's. Kind of sad.
Summer's coming to an end, man.
Philly season coming to an end. They have no weekday. Let me double check on this. I don't believe they have any weekday afternoon games.
Thank goodness.
Well, I take that back. They have one on a Thursday against Milwaukee. That's the night the Eagles open.
That's getaway.
Thursday night against Milwaukee, by the way. You're going to have – think about that day.
Big day.
Milwaukee, Brewers, Phillies Thursday, and then Eagles, Cowboys Thursday night.
Banner night.
Going one right to the other.
That's right.
They have a Monday 4 o'clock game on Labor Day. And then after that, I don't see another afternoon game.
Nope. Well, so they got to go out west to play L.A. still. That'll be a big series. So, and then they have 2 series against the Mets coming up. So that they have some important games in September.
Well, they have 7 against the Mets, 4 against the Brewers, and the 3 against the Dodgers.
So they will be playing for seeding all the way up until the end of the year.
I don't think – I guess it'll be interesting to see. Are they going to be able to take any time off, like relax, kick back? Are they going to have a seed?
Not with that schedule, no.
Yeah. All right, that's it. I want to thank Dan and the team at Urie's. It's been a great summer here every Wednesday for Phillies day games with these fun watch parties. Good to meet some people that came on out. The Lombardi Trophy was a hit with everybody. They got their picture taken all summer long. For people who came up and said hello all throughout the year, Dan's been a great host here. If you ever get down to Urie's, check out the Sliders Bar, the outdoor deck, have dinner in the dining room over there. They got an unbelievable setup. It is an awesome place to watch sports. Phillies, Eagles, college football. They do it all the way through October. You can come out and check out the Phillies Red October games. Ooh, man. Tomorrow, back in the studios. Friday, we'll be at Ventnor Social. So if you couldn't get down here today, stop out Friday to see us at Ventnor Social. Best of the Sports Bash next.